You don't exist. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Dead up perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of What If Naruto Meets Sonic? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Look Naruto, this place looks like fun. Don't you think so cheese? The little Chao chirped in agreement to Cream's statement while she stands next to Naruto. You might be right Cream-chan, this place sure looks colorful, said Naruto. There was more to it than Naruto's rather brief description as he and Cream gazed upon the landscape before. Like Naruto said it was a colorful place but what he left out was the fact that the zone seemed to be themed after music due to the colossal instruments like pianos, drums, trumpets and more which are incorporated into pathways for the to use. Anyways, let's not get sidetracked okay? We need to find Eggman and have him tell us exactly where your mother is kept. Okay Naruto, Cream replied cheerfully. Then Naruto took off with Cream and Cheese close behind as the duo wandered into the current zone with the purpose of fulfilling their main objective of their journey. Naruto and Cream ran up and down the rolling hills with great speed before reaching a ledge where they leapt off a ledge onto another pathway through a loop and bounced off a diagonal pair of cymbals which acted like a spring to send them landing on a multicolored xylophone whereby stepping one a bar plays a musical sound while bouncing them lightly from one bar to another. The duo hopped along the bars to the other side whilst making a fun tune. They got onto a pathway where they saw a badnik modeled after a clown which is constantly swngng a hammer around itself while moving towards them. Naruto charged at the badnik with a fist reared back. He timed his strike for when the badnik swung its hammer at him before sliding around to appear behind it. Then he channeled chakra into the gloves to form a katana to slice the hammerhead from the handle before transforming into a hammer of his own and swung at the badnik to destroy it while freeing a flicky from within. They resumed their run downhill and picked up more speed then came across a large colored bars of music notations. Getting an idea, Naruto jumped towards one of the bars and curled up into a ball as if performing his kitsune spiral dash. Cream was quick to follow as well with her spin dash and they got to the other side of the ledge where there was a descending rail for them to grind along until arriving at the end and jumping off to step on a dash panel to boost through a pair of uphill loops then bouncing off a pair of cymbals which sent them spinning upwards to a higher level of the landscape. The path suddenly led into a narrow tunnel for them spin dash through into a large French horn which sucked them in before launching out at the other end like a cannon. This place really is a lot of fun, said Cream excitedly. Chow chow. Cheese chirped from the top of Cream's head as it held on tight to avoid falling off. That young rabbit is quite the excitable one, isn't she? Said Kurama amusedly. Kinda reminds me of myself back when I was younger, thought Naruto with a smile. He snapped into attention when an orange ball was flung into the air, forcing him to somersault and land on the ground to see just what threw the ball. It was another badnik modeled after a simian holding up an orange and gray circus ball with its feet whilst performing a handstand and kicking it into the air. Naruto waited for the moment and the badnik kicked the ball into the air before making his move. He quickly threw a kunai with seals drawn on the handle which embedded itself into the badnik and suddenly paralyzing it then the circus ball fall back on it resulting in an explosion. Naruto and Cream ran into another giant French horn and were launched upwards to land on top of a long rail and grinded along it to a pathway and sprung from a pair cymbals upwards onto multiple platforms of large xylophone keys and they bounced along them to get to the other side where they stepped on a dash panel to boost them right off a dash ramp and land on the ground below before taking off once more. Even though this place is lots of fun, we still haven't found Dr. Eggman, Naruto. Cream spoke to Naruto while running alongside him with Cheese flying above them. Don't worry about it, I'm sure we'll find the doctor. Just need a way to dash Naruto suddenly into focus when he concentrated on locating Eggman hopefully within his range, which he did, but then he detected another aura next to him and it was rather familiar. I found him, Cream-chan, but it seems like someone I know is there as well. Then let's go and meet them, said Cream. Couldn't agree with you more, said Naruto before running in the direction of where both auras are located. Naruto and Cream ran along the path which then went downhill before leaping up to a higher platform with xylophone bars which they bounced along to get across and bouncing off a pair of cymbals to ascend to higher ground before leaping over a row of spikes to avoid getting hurt. Then he used a half-powered Rasengan to take down another one of the clown badniks in the way. At the end was a rail for them to grind along and somersaulted off at the end to land on the ground. There they rolled into a large French horn which shot them upwards to a platform. Naruto and Cream stepped on dash panel to send themselves speeding through 2 uphill loops which ended with a dash ramp to get across a long gap to get to the other side. Several more badniks appeared and Naruto formed some shadow clones to attack, whereas Cream surprised him by having Cheese charge in and destroyed each of them with one hit. While Cream didn't know Cheese could fight, said Naruto. Cheese felt a bit left out whenever I do my exercises, so he joined in on the fun and became super strong, said Cream happily. I can definitely see the results. Ditto, Kurama was in agreement to the statement. After taking down the badniks and freeing the animals within, the duo continued on their way by jumping off the platform to get below to the lower levels. There they saw both the ceiling and floor made out piano keys. Thinking quickly, both curled up into their spin dashes and began to bounce along the keys which sounded upon contact as they went along until reaching the end and dropped down to another level. There they boosted off a dash panel and were bouncing off platforms comprised of xylophone bars a few times. They landed on top of a grind rail and rode along it upwards to a higher level and were running up the wall before reaching the top. The duo jumped off to land into the holes of a giant flute as it spouted them into the air. Cream flapped her ears and flew over to Naruto and grabbed his hand before carrying him over to the next pathway. Naruto and Cream then ran into more badniks, but they easily took care of them before running up and down the rolling hills as they jumped into another giant French horn to be launched onto another large colored bars of music notations for them to bounce along, then grinding along a rail into a section with the piano keys again. At the end the duo boosted off a dash panel to speed through an upward loop, then straight into a double downhill loop. They boosted via another dash ramp to run up a ramped wall to bounce off a pair of cymbals towards several more as they ascended all the way to the highest level before finally stopping. I think we're close enough to where Eggman is. I can feel his aura getting stronger by the minute, so he shouldn't be far, said Naruto with his eyes closed in concentration. Naruto, look over there. I see Dr. Eggman in his flying machine. Cream suddenly called out to the fox whilst pointing at a certain direction. Naruto looked up to see that it was indeed the evil doctor flying in his egg mobile, and so they followed him to wherever it was that he was going. Naruto watched as Eggman docked his ship on top of a new vehicle which appears to have 3 large totem poles stacked upon each other, with each one being orange with grey spikes. Under the totem poles is a red car-like vehicle with 3 wheels that are black and orange, and a yellow headlight. Then he mostly took note of something hanging off of a pole whom he instantly recognized. Tails, said Naruto. It was indeed his friend and fellow fox who is currently tied up in ropes and hanging off of the pole, with Eggman looking at his captive with a sneer. Do you know him? Asked Cream curiously. Yeah, Tails is a good friend of mine and is Sonic's best friend too. Cream let out a gasp of surprise. You mean he's friends with the famous Mr. Sonic? Then we have to help him. Took the words right out of my mouth, Cream-chan. Let's go. Naruto jumped down with Cream and Cheese close behind as they ran towards Eggman and the captive Tails, with both gazing at the arrivals with annoyance and joy respectively. Naruto, boy, am I glad to see you, said Tails happily. Grr, you again. Just how long are you going to keep getting in my way? Eggman growled in anger. As long as you keep doing what you always do, then I always will be a pain in your butt. Now let go of Tails, said Naruto with a glare. Why don't you make me? With my egg totem, I would like to see you try. This guy just doesn't get it, hang on Tails. We'll get you out of there, said Naruto. Okay Naruto. Tails responded. Naruto and Cream ran after Eggman after the doctor started the vehicle and was driving away from them with the fox carefully keeping an eye for what sort of surprises he has in store for them and waiting for the right timing to get Tails out of there. Suddenly one of the totem-like discs began to spin rapidly before flying towards them. Naruto and Cream quickly moved to the side to dodge it before it returned to the vehicle, then two more shot out and swooped towards them. Cream jumped into the air and flew above one whilst Naruto slid underneath the other. It was then he saw something protrude from the center of the disc and shot a red projectile straight at him. Naruto quickly curled up to perform the kitsune spiral dash to roll out of the way, and from under the disc, he looked to the side and saw Cream also dodging the red projectiles from some sort of cannon. Getting a sudden idea, he jumped on top of the lower disc and then leapt onto the next one, then finally lunged straight for the cockpit which Eggman is sitting in, channeling chakra to the left glove to form a single tonfa which he used to slam on top of the cockpit before flipping back to land on the ground. Go for it Cheese, said Cream. Chow. Cheese flew straight for the cannon and rammed into it with great force, enough to destroy the cannon with one. Keep it up guys, you're doing great, said Tails. Eggman gritted his teeth in anger of what was happening. Jiraiya, I'm not finished yet. See how you handle this. He pushed a button to deploy all three spinning totems straight at them. The cannons at the bottom came online and proceeded to open fire at the duo. Naruto quickly took out formed a chakra kunai in his hand and deflected the incoming fire, then he flung a Hiroshin kunai at Cream and flashed over to her once it got close enough. Naruto positioned himself in front of the rabbit girl with his arms crossed as the crystals on the gloves glowed brightly before forming a spherical transparently scaled shield the incoming fire. See how you like this, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto formed a group of clones that charged towards the totem discs, forming varieties of weapons with the gloves like swords, spears and gauntlets before lunging at the cannons and taking them out. Naruto then jumped from one totem disc to the other before taking a running leap and called out his next jutsu, Swift Release, Shadow Flight. He dashed in midair while leaving behind afterimages till he reached Eggman's cockpit with a Rasengan in hand before ramming it in and inflicting a lot of damage, then somersaulting in the air to land back on the ground. Just a little more and Eggman's toast, said Tails. No I'm not. I still haven't lost yet. Eggman commanded the totems to return to the vehicle. Now let's see how you're going to attack me now that there's no footholds for you to use. We'll see, Cream-chan catch. Naruto tossed a Hiroshin kunai over to Cream, who caught it then passed it to Cheese. A shadow clone ran next to Naruto and together they began to form a much larger Rasengan, much to Eggman's growing worry. Okay Cheese, you know what to do, said Cream. Cheese chirped in affirmation before quickly flying up to the now critically damaged cockpit and tossed the kunai the best way he could at it. Then in a yellow flash, Naruto and his clone appeared in midair with a large blue spinning sphere. Take this, giant Rasengan. They rammed the technique into the vehicle, causing instant destruction, whilst the clone used a sharpened claw to cut Tails free of the ropes for him to quickly fly in the air by spinning his tails around like a rotor. They watched as the egg totem fell apart before finally exploding, and when the smoke cleared, Eggman was nowhere to be seen. Darn it, he got away again, said Naruto in annoyance, then he turned to see Tails land before him with a smile on his face. Thanks for the save, Naruto. Who's that with you, said Tails. This is my friend Cream-chan and her chow friend Cheese. I rescued them from Eggman over at Leaf Forest and I'm helping her find her mother, whom we suspect is kidnapped by Eggman. But what happened that you got captured by the doctor? Asked Naruto curiously. I was just working on a new invention when Eggman just came from out of nowhere, said Tails. Naruto looked deep in thought. Just what is Eggman up to? We'll just have to keep tailing the guy to find out more of his plans, said Kurama. So how do we find Dr. Eggman now? Asked Cream. That's easy. I noticed that Eggman's ship got damaged from the explosion and left behind a trail of black smoke. Tails pointed upwards for Naruto and Cream to look up and see a long line of smoke trailing into the distance, so all we have to do is follow the trail and we find Eggman. Guess you're coming along with us? Asked Naruto. Tails nodded in affirmation. That's right, I'd like to help you guys stop Eggman from doing whatever he's planning. Then welcome to the team. Thank you for wanting to help us, Mr. Tails, said Cream happily. You're welcome, said Tails. With the addition of Tails, the group followed the trail of smoke left behind by the Egg Mobile until they found themselves crossing the border of Music Plant and into snowy terrain as night fell. They moved to higher ground to see exactly where they are. Before the group, a carpet of white snow covers the floor of crystalline blue and purple rocks, various metal loops and ramps frozen into the environment, while further ahead is a well-lit city. Any idea what this place is, Tails? Asked Naruto. This place is called Ice Paradise, it's known to snow all year around, Tails responded. Maybe Mom and I could come here to make snow angels, said Cream innocently. Kinda reminds of the land of snow back home, I'll tell you about it when we deal with Eggman, said Naruto. So what do we do, Naruto? Asked Tails curiously. For starters, it's obvious that Eggman has covered his tracks since we can't see the smoke trail anymore. So Tails and Cream-chan will go together in search of him while I do the same on my own. We'll contact each other once we find Dr. Eggman. Got it, Naruto, let's go, Cream. Okay, please be careful, Naruto, said Cream before she and Cheese followed after Tails, leaving Naruto behind. No need to worry, Cream-chan. I'll be fine, said Naruto before taking off at high speed. Naruto started off by running along the snowy pathway and launched himself off a dash ramp and onto a grind rail for him to ride along until somersaulting off at the end and landing on the ground below where he stepped on a dash panel to boost himself up a steep hill. Naruto boosted off another dash panel to grind along an ascending rail to an upper level and then descend another hill to jump off a dash ramp and landed on a ledge. Naruto jumped upwards to grab onto a gymnastic bar where he spun around a few times before swngng off to land on the ground and resumed his run. Naruto jumped from one ledge to another as he descended till he landed on an icy path which sent him sliding downwards and bounced off a diagonally positioned spring and land on platform where he ran through an uphill loop before a shuttle loop with a dash panel in between for a burst of speed. Naruto heard a whooshing sound from behind him and looked back to see one of Eggman's badniks, with this one having the appearance of a penguin laying on its belly with its inbuilt thruster boosting it forward towards him. Naruto skidded along the ground whilst spinning around to face the pursuing badnik and curled up to perform his gale force dash to knock it away and smash into a wall, freeing the animal inside of it. Apparently it wasn't alone, as Naruto, still in his spin dash, moved out of the way of an orange projectile and uncurled to look up to see another badnik, with this one resembling an octopus with an inflated head and was floating in the air. With a look of annoyance, Naruto formed chakra construct of a windmill shuriken which he flung at the floating badnik to slice off a part, sending it crashing to the ground and freeing the animal inside. Naruto continued on his way as he ran along the path which sloped downwards and running along a yellow and white wall to over a bottomless pit to get to the other side, boosting off a dash panel to climb up a steep hill and bounced off a spring to grab onto a gymnastic bar, then spun a few times before letting go to land on a ledge with a frozen floor for him to slide on, but he jumped towards a cliff wall to avoid falling off the ledge by sticking to the wall with chakra emitting from his feet. Naruto dashed up the cliff wall and flipped over to land on the ground and ran down to get onto a slide which he rode along before jumping off the end to pass through a red dash ring to launch him into several more and get onto another slide which led him to a platform for him to jump towards and continue his run. Several more of the balloon badniks appeared from above and rained down on him with orange bullets. Naruto executed his shadow dance technique to evade the incoming fire before leaping towards them with the gloves forming a pair of kunai, then he performed the fleeting bladed shadow dance to bring them down. Naruto boosted off a dash panel to pass through a downhill loop which led into another downhill loop before a steep uphill climb and launching off a dash ramp onto a grind rail to ride along and slid on an icy downhill at the end, finally skidding to a stop and was looking around. So far so good, but still no sign of Eggman, said Naruto as he scouted out the area. He knows that you might be nearby and so is making himself strong to find, said Kurama. Might as well use my sage mode to seek him out. Naruto sat down on the ground with his legs crossed and eyes closed. He was about to begin the process of absorbing the natural energy present around him when he felt a spike of negativity. I'm sensing fear and panic, someone must be in trouble. Naruto jumped to his feet and dashed towards where the source of the negativity is located and apparently is on the move. Elsewhere, a group of pen badniks were currently in pursuit of someone who happens to be running away from them at high speeds, which is quite unusual since the person isn't Sonic the Hedgehog. It appears to be a yellow anthropomorphic mongoose wearing a black hairband over her violet hair, a black midriff-bearing tank top, green gloves with black knuckle dusters, khaki shorts, and green boots with black soles. She also had a satchel swung along her shoulder while she ran, but her foot got caught on something underneath the snow which tripped her up and fall on the ground. The girl looked back with eyes widening in fear as the badniks closed in on her and closed them whilst bracing for the incoming agony. Suddenly she felt a gust of wind blow by, then the sounds of smashing and minor explosions before slowly opening them to see an orange anthropomorphic fox with 9 tails standing with his back to her as she peeked over to see that all of the badniks had been destroyed, much to her awe. Who is this guy that just saved me? The girl thought. She snapped back into attention upon seeing the fox turn towards her. Are you okay? Here, let me help you up. The fox held a hand out for her to grab, which she took after a moment of hesitation before being helped up to her feet. I'm okay, thank you for saving me, said girl with a small smile. It's no problem at all for me, I wasn't going to just stand by and watch you get hurt. Plus I have a beef with those robots. By the way, the name's Naruto Uzumaki the Nine-Tailed Fox, said Naruto with a foxy grin. My name is Mina Mongoose, it's nice to meet you Naruto, said Mina. Same here, but why were those badniks chasing you anyway? Asked Naruto curiously. Mina looked as though she was contemplating as to whether to tell him the truth or not. A moment later, it seemed like she made a decision since she reached for her satchel to open and bring out something which caused Naruto's and Kurama's eyes to widen in shock. That's a Chaos Emerald. Like Naruto exclaimed, it was indeed a Chaos Emerald that Mina is holding, the red one to be exact. Where did you get it? I was exploring the snowy hills when I found it sticking out from a pile of snow. When I went to pick it up, those badniks showed up and attacked me. I was able to take some of them down, but there was just too many for me to fight against, so I had to run, and that's when you appeared and helped me, said Mina. It makes sense since Eggman would wanting the Chaos Emeralds to power up his machines. Just what is he up to? Said Naruto with a thoughtful look. Why are you going after Dr. Eggman? Asked Mina. Because Eggman has been kidnapping animals to use as fuel for his robot, and also I'm helping a little girl find her mother whom I suspect was also kidnapped. I made a promise to reunite them together, said Naruto determinedly. Mina was visibly stunned by his reason. Wow, that's so nice of him. Beep, 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 beep. There a loud beeping sound which caught their attention, and it was coming from one of Naruto's gloves with one of the crystals flashing. Naruto tapped the crystal before raising it to his mouth and spoke to it. Naruto, Cream and I have found Eggman, but you need to get over here fast before he leaves Ice Paradise, said Tails through the comm link. Gotcha, I'm on my way. Naruto closed the link, then turned towards Mina. I'll have to get going. Will you be okay on your if more badniks show up to get at the Chaos Emerald? He could have offered to take the emerald, but they just met and he doubts that she would just give it to him like that. Actually, I think I'll come with you. That way we'll be able to keep the emerald safe from Eggman, said Mina. Can you keep up with me? I'm pretty fast, said Naruto. I may not be as fast as the famous Sonic the Hedgehog, but I can definitely be able to keep up. Naruto thought deeply about this until he came up with an idea. He reached into his ninja pouch and took out 4 tags with seals inscribed on them, which he then placed on Mina's knuckle dusters and boots. The seals glowed briefly before fading lightly, with Naruto nodding in approval. What would these do? Asked Mina while looking at the tags in curiosity. Those are something that I invented called burst tags. in each of them I sealed a large amount of chakra which releases a minor amount in a small but powerful burst upon impact with the seal. This should make your fights against the badniks much easier, Naruto replied. That's pretty amazing, I've never heard anything like this before, said Mina. I can explain later, but now we need to get a move on and get to Eggman. Right. The newly formed pair then ran off with Naruto in the lead as he was currently homing in on Tails and Cream's life signature. Naruto and Mina dashed along the pathway and were just running down a hill. Naruto was mildly impressed with Mina's ability to stay close to him. Even though she's not exactly as fast as Sonic, she could still keep up with him just like Cream does. The duo launched themselves off a ramp to cross over a large gap to land on the other side, where they ran up a ramped wall to ascend to the top and took to the air where there was a rail for them to grind along, and jumped off to land on the snowy ground. They ran across a red bridge and boosted off a dash panel to run through a shuttle loop towards a tall wall where there is a spring for them, bounce upwards into a upward guiding loop, then running along another one of the yellow and white walls to cross over a pit full of spikes. Naruto ran to the edge of the platform and jumped up to grab onto gymnastic bars above him and quickly called out to Mina, "Grab onto my tails," and swung out to the other side. Kurama widened his eyes in shock and called out, "Kit, wait. Don't let her grab the dash," but he was too late with the warning as Mina grabbed two of the tails and Naruto let out a yelp when he felt them being squeezed too strong, but withstood it as they spun around. "Why did my tails hurt like that?" thought Naruto. "That's because you're a kitsune now, our tails are very special, hence why they're so sensitive." "I wish you had told me earlier," Naruto grumbled. Mina finally let of the tails much to the fox's relief and landed on the other side, but up ahead she saw a small group of pen badniks who upon seeing her charged in to attack. Mina hesitated a bit but recalled the seal tags as she reared a fist back before thrusting it forward to smash into one of the badniks, resulting in a small burst of blue aura and a loud bang to send it flying into a wall and breaking apart to free the animal inside. Feeling more confident, she attacked the remaining badniks and took them all down. Then Mina heard Naruto land beside her and looked at him with a smile. "They really worked. Thanks for giving them to me," said Mina happily. Naruto smiled in return, "You're welcome, just glad that they're working like they're supposed to. Now let's get a move on." The duo dashed up and down the rolling hills whilst slowly gathering speed before launching off a dash ramp and onto a grind rail which they somersaulted off to ride in an ice slide, but quickly jumped off at the end to avoid falling into the bottomless pit below. They ran through a pathway which led to a shuttle loop above and down a sloped hill. Several balloon badniks appeared above ready to, so Naruto signaled for Mina to launch off his back to attack, to which she complied and was airborne before unleashing a combo of punches and kicks to take them all down, then landing back on the ground next to Naruto. "It's time to shift in turbo, Mina, grab my hand," said Naruto whilst holding a hand out. "Okay." Mina took his hand, was surprised when she saw Naruto accelerate rapidly and everything was a blur around her. Naruto was dashing through the area, leaving behind a trail of afterimages. He sped through multiple loops and grind rails, even ignoring the lack of traction in the icy terrains, and bouncing through a chain of springs to ascend to the upper levels. A large group of pen badniks charged at the duo with the intent to intercept them, but were knocked out of the way like bowling pins. Unknown to Naruto was that a minuscule breeze was swirling around one of his tails as he ran. Soon he saw Tails and Cream in the distance, and began skidding on his heels to brake to a stop right next. "Hey guys!" Naruto called out to them. "Hey Naruto, who is she?" asked Tails upon seeing Mina. "Oh, this is Mina Mongoose. She was being chased by the badniks for possessing a Chaos Emerald before I helped her out," said Naruto. "It's nice to meet you, Miss Mina. My name is Cream and this is my friend Cheese," said Cream with a bow. "It's nice to meet you too," said Mina with a nod. "That explains why Eggman hasn't left yet. He must have sent his badniks to retrieve the Chaos Emerald to power his inventions," said Tails thoughtfully. "Yeah, and here he comes now," Naruto pointed out for the group to see. It was a flying craft similar to the Egg Mobile but slightly larger, different body frame with a paint job of mostly blue and gray with some orange. It also has 3 spiked balls that are attached to rear with a hanging plate on the end to form a long tail, giving one the impression of a flying snake at first glance. According to scanners, the Chaos Emerald is located right around Hiyu again. I thought I got rid of you once I repaired my ship. Eggman broke off his musing upon seeing Naruto and the group before glaring. Apparently one of you has the Chaos Emerald, so hand it over and get out of my sight. Sorry, but you forgot to say please, plus we wouldn't give it to you did anything, said Naruto with a quirked eyebrow. And you have a lot to answer for, Eggman, said Mina standing next to Naruto with her fists up. Eggman rolled his eyes behind his goggles and sneered, "Oh, cry me a river, with my arrow egg I will be getting that Chaos Emerald one way or another." Why does this human always add egg to everything he names? He could at least be more original. Even Minato's naming sense was slightly better, said Kurama. We'll see about that, Tails, you and Cream will remain behind while Mina and I handle this guy, again, said Naruto. Mina took off her satchel and handed it over to Cream. Could you hold on to this for me please? Okay, I'll be sure to keep it. Safe, said Cream. Are you ready, Mina? Naruto flexed his fingers and hopped a few times. Mina clenched her fist, ready to fight. Yes, let's go. Naruto and Mina pursued Eggman in his arrow egg. He flew above them. He suddenly pushed a button and a hatch opened at the bottom of the aircraft, then something fell out from the hatch towards the ground below and they saw it to be a gray missile which instinctively alerted them to move to the side just as the projectile impacted the ground and exploded with debris flying everywhere. Apparently it wasn't the only one as more missiles fell from the aircraft towards them and the duo resorted to evasive action to avoid any kind of damage from the incoming attacks. What do we do, Naruto? Asked Mina. Naruto looked at the arrow egg for any kinds of openings until his eyes settled on the plate floating the end of the tail. Further moments of observation gave him as he called out to Mina. We can use the plate as a stepping stone so that we can get at Eggman. I'll start things out by going first, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto formed his signature hand sign to create a clone much to Mina's surprise, which ran ahead before turning around and cupped his hands while in the move for the original to step on it and was boosted into the air. Naruto reached the plate and vaulted off it whilst channeling chakra through the gloves to form a bow staff. He twirled it a few times before slamming it on top of the arrow egg to inflict damage, and then he flipped off to land back on the ground and continued to run alongside Mina. I see now, then it's my turn, said Mina. Not yet, look. Naruto pointed for Mina to see that the plate had rotated vertically, voiding its use as a stepping stone. We'll have to wait for it to back again, so until then we gotta be on the defensive. Naruto rushed to position himself in front of Mina and twirled the bow staff like a propeller before him to deflect the falling debris before dodging the explosive missiles once again. It a few more minutes till the plate became horizontal once again. Now's your chance, Mina, I'll boost you up. He held the bow staff horizontally to the side which Mina stepped on and he swung it to launch her into the air. Mina bounced off the plate and punched the arrow egg with the burst tags kicking in to inflict additional damage, and then landing back on the ground. Let's keep it up, just like this. The duo continued the process of striking at the arrow egg multiple times whilst evading the missiles until the aircraft looked to be in its most critical condition, forcing Eggman into a slight panic and anger at getting close to being defeated yet again. To him, losing to someone other than Sonic is a major blow to his ego. Which is why he ascended higher into the air and began to drop bombs at a much higher rate, and the plate remained completely vertical. How can we reach him so high up? Asked Mina. Don't worry about it, just gonna have to take a page from my Naruto handbook. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto created several more of his clones, then scooped Mina up in a bridal carry, causing her to squeak in surprise and blush at how close she is to him. One of the clones began to grab each of his fellow copies and fling them high into the air before turning to face his original and Mina by linking his hands together and beckon for him to step on. Naruto did just that and was launched into the air towards the other airborne clones. the first clone grabbed him by the back of his jacket and tossed towards the second clone, who flipped in midair for his feet to serve as a platform, then kicked upwards to send him to the third clone that grabbed him before spinning around several times to gain momentum and threw towards the still vertically positioned plate. Naruto somersaulted with chakra emitting from his feet latched onto the plate, forcing it back to a horizontal position and jumped right above the arrow egg. Then he let go of Mina as they dove towards Eggman. "Let's take it to him, Mina-chan." Naruto reared his fist back, radiating with chakra. "Got it." Mina reared her fist back as well. Both lashed out with a double straight that impacted with the arrow egg, sealing its fate with destruction as the aircraft plummeted to the ground and crashed before exploding, with Naruto landing back safely on the ground with Mina in his arms again. "Why you? You'll pay for this." Eggman had undocked the egg mobile from the arrow egg before it crashed to the ground and was glaring at the group with anger before ascending towards the sky. "He's running away," said Mina. "Yeah, something he's very good from past encounters. But this time I can track him properly," said Naruto. "Really, how?" Tails asked when he showed up alongside Cream, with the latter handing the satchel back to Mina. "I placed a chakra beacon tag on his aircraft which I can locate, and from what I'm sensing he's ascending way up in the skies. By what you're describing, it sounds like he's heading for Angel Island. He must be targeting the MSTR Emerald," said Tails. "Then we must head over there and stop him," said Mina. Naruto looked at her confusedly. You still want to come along with us?" He thought that she was just going to help fight Eggman and be done with it. "Of course, looks to me like you could use some help and I'm willing to give just that." "Okay then, now how do we get up there?" Tails was quick to speak up cheerfully. "Not to worry, I just contacted my tornado via remote control to fly over here, then we can use it to get over to Angel Island." Naruto ruffled the hair on Tails' head fondly. Smart thinking, Tails. Soon enough, the group heard the sound of an engine and looked up to see a red and white colored biplane flying towards them. Later they all got on board with Tails at the pilot's seat, Cream and Mina at the passenger seat, and Naruto stood on the top wing. Tails started the engine and took off from the ground towards the fabled Angel Island where one of his companions reside. Up high in the cloudy sky, we find Naruto and the others on board Tails' biplane known as the Tornado, which was used to depart from Ice Paradise in pursuit of Dr. Eggman, who had been tagged by Naruto, with his likely destination being the fabled Angel Island where they're heading towards. "I can feel the signal from the chakra beacon tag getting stronger," said Naruto from atop the top wing of the Tornado. "Then that means we're almost at Angel Island. I'm pretty sure that it's just beyond this incoming cloud bank," said Tails. "I've heard about a floating island, but I've never seen it before, not even on television," said Mina. "Me too, but thanks to Naruto and Mr. Tails, we now have the chance to see it." "I'm so excited," said Cream with Cheese chirping in agreement. After passing through the cloud bank, the group except for Tails were treated to a sight which they would never forget for a very long time. Ahead of them is a massive island with tall mountains, varying environments like forests, icy terrain and more, which was actually levitating in the air. Naruto could sense the chaos energy coursing through the island like veins, to which he speculated to be the reason for why the island is capable of levitation. "There's Angel Island, that's where the MSTR Emerald is kept and Knuckles serves as its guardian," said Tails. "And probably what Eggman's targeting, he's over that way." Tails, Naruto focused on the tag and pointed at a certain direction. "Got it." Tails turned the biplane in the direction which Naruto pointed at and flew over there. Soon they found themselves flying over a region full of nothing but canyons which were blanketed with clouds, though they could make out mechanisms which functions as fans and windmills of varying sizes. "This is where I'm sensing the chakra beacon tag. Best we locate it from the ground in case Eggman laid out any traps for us," said Naruto. "I'll go look for Knuckles, I'm sure he'll help us out," said Tails. "In that case, Mina-chan and Cream-chan will pair up and seek out any badniks and then free them." "Why can't we come with you?" asked Mina, feeling a bit let down that she wouldn't be able to accompany the fox with Cream and Cheese feeling the same way. "I'm sure that Eggman knows that we're coming and is sure to try and leave quickly before we catch up, so I'll need to get to him fast before while leaving the clearing out of the badniks to you girls, said Naruto. Okay Naruto, we'll do our best, said Cream. I'll catch you guys later. Naruto flipped off the top wing and dove towards the ground below as the tornado flew away to another location where Tails will drop off Mina and Cream before going to look for Knuckles. As he drove close to the ground, Naruto threw a Hiroshin kunai towards the floor and immediately to it once the weapon struck the floor before taking off at high speed and launched off a dash ramp over the clouds to land on a platform, then leapt to another one. A buzz bomber dove towards him and fired multiple energy bullets at its target. Naruto formed a windmill shuriken and folded it out before spinning rapidly like a propeller as it deflected the incoming projectiles, then throwing to slice the airborne badnik in half and freeing a flicky inside. He was back on the move and stepped on a dash panel which sent him speeding through a narrow pathway that formed an upward guiding loop, then shifting into an inverse loop with the path leading upwards, which sent him high into the air. Naruto looked ahead and saw a dash ring ahead, then created a shadow clone that grabbed him and spun around once before throwing him towards the ring, which launched Naruto further to land safely on a platform and took to the air again from a dash ramp before landing on the ground. Naruto landed in front of an electric fan that blew an air current strong enough to push him forward and grind along an ascending grind rail into a miniature windmill, which had him performing a spin dash as the impact caused it to swirl around before launching him upwards onto an upper level. Naruto jumped from one platform to another while avoiding the spikes suddenly shooting out from the ground and walls before leaping towards another windmill to be sent upwards to another platform. Naruto ran to the edge of the platform and saw multiple springs all mounted on propellers letting them hover in the air. He bounced off each spring to ascend to a higher level. He boosted off a dash panel down the slope and up a narrow path into another electric fan, which redirected him up another narrow through an uphill loop into a second descending slope till he ran off the edge onto another platform which had a ramped wall to move upwards right into a windmill to be launched higher and land on top of a grind rail, which he slid along to reach a platform, passed an electric fan and got boosted again to run down a narrow path towards a wall where a spring was placed for he to bounce off into an upwards loop before running downhill. He jumped off the edge when a tornado suddenly picked up and he got caught in the current and was whisked up high into the air above a row of multiple hovering springs for him to bounce along towards a platform where he launched off a dash ramp right onto a spring to ascend to the top of the level where there's another spring for a minor boost to the secondary level. He ran up and down the narrow path straight into a windmill and got flung to a higher platform, then dashed through a downhill loop and bounced off a diagonal spring towards a platform where he ran up a ramped wall into an upward loop. Afterwards, Naruto launched off a dash ramp towards a chain of springs which sent him higher for another tornado to boost him all the way towards yet another row of hover springs to cross along to a narrow path. Naruto ran down a narrow path where he ran into a windmill which swirled around before launching him higher towards an upper narrow path. There was a dash panel which he stepped on for a burst of speed down the narrow path into a quarter loop which had him running upside down as he ran off the edge, but he quickly somersaulted in midair and landed on his feet before skidding to a stop. Hoo-hoo, another rush but in a literal sense of the word. I can feel the signature of the tag getting much stronger, which means that Eggman isn't much further from here, said Naruto. Indeed, a single misstep would have sent you careening to the sea or ground below. Though you might have used the chakra mode or bijou mode to fly back up here, said Kurama. You're right, I better call Tails and find out if he found Knuckles yet. Naruto raised one of the gloves to his hand as he tapped the crystal before a holographic interface appeared. He scrolled down a bit before activating the comm feature which soon made contact. Yo Tails, this Naruto. Can you hear me? Tails here, I read you loud and clear. Tails spoke from the other end of the link. I getting closer to where Eggman is. What's going on at your side? Have you found Knuckles yet? No, I've been to where the MSTR Emerald is located, but Knuckles was nowhere to be seen. Maybe he's gone off to fight the badniks on the island, so we might meet him halfway. Okay, then I'll regroup with you guys. Gotcha, I'll see you later. Naruto closed the connection, then focused on the tag again and dashed towards its location. Naruto ran down a slanted platform into a narrow pathway which then curved upwards before curving again for to be running upside down. He ran off the pathway into an upper platform where a diagonal spring was positioned there for him to bounce high into the air. Swift release, shadow flight. He dashed in midair while leaving behind afterimages to clear a great distance before landing on the ground by performing gale force dash to zip along the ground just in time as a new badnik was currently attacking him. This one was built to resemble an armadillo which is currently curled up and rolling towards the vulpine ninja. The clash was obviously one-sided as the wind pressure overwhelmed the badnik and smashed it into pieces before freeing another animal inside. Naruto rolled up a short ramp and took to the air as he landed on a narrow pathway with an electric fan behind to blow him forward up and down the slopes before launching off a dash ramp into the air and landing onto another platform where he zipped through a downhill loop and off another dash ramp for a platform where he bounced from a spring to be sent backwards and grinding up a rail, then bouncing from a diagonal spring high into the air and landing on a narrow pathway and running along it. Naruto reached the end of a wall where he bounced off a spring to catch some air and reached several hover springs which he used to ascend towards a platform above him. He ran along it and boosted off a dash ramp towards another platform whilst picking up speed before running into a windmill and getting flung upwards onto a row of hover springs to cross along to the other side. Naruto ran past an electric fan to get himself propelled forwards and launch off a dash ramp onto a spring. To ascend to an upper level for him to dash along a sloping narrow path to a ramped wall, he quickly kicked against the wall to flip backwards and land on top of another narrow pathway before boosting off a dash panel to ascend where electric fan redirected him to run up another pathway to the edge of platform and he performed a chakra-enhanced jump to land on top of a grind rail to ride along before doing a stylish somersault off the end. Upon landing, Naruto boosted off dash panel through a narrow pathway which formed an inverse loop before shifting into a downward loop for Naruto to run off the edge and bounce from a diagonal spring towards a wall full of spikes. Whoa! Naruto threw a kunai up above the spikes to the top of the platform before quickly flashing over to it and landing in a safe spot. Phew, that was close. I almost ended up being a pincushion. Lucky for you, be careful since these might lead to potential death traps, said Kurama. Already noted. Naruto ran over to a spring and launched himself high into the air onto a platform where an electric fan blew him back to grind up a rail behind him, then running up a ramped wall to bounce from a diagonal spring which sent him into a windmill that flung him into another electric fan that blew him back into the mechanism to be launched high into the air and land on a platform. Naruto ran along the platform through two downhill loops and launching off a dash ramp into a chain of springs to ascend to a higher platform above where there were several hover springs to be used to get across to the next platform. He ran along it then down a narrow pathway to bounce from a spring, redirecting him down another pathway with a second spring to change his directions yet again before slowing to a normal pace as he felt that the tag could be felt nearby. The signal from the tag is much stronger this time. Eggman is close by, said Naruto, then a rumbling sound was heard and getting louder as if moving towards where they are. And I'm sure the source of the rumbling and the placement of the tag is none other than the doctor himself, said Kurama. Sure enough, they saw just what was causing the sound and it wasn't that much of a surprise that it was a giant machine obviously created by Dr. Eggman. It is a giant wheel which has 3 stations attached to it and slowly rotates along the wheel as it moves. The top is the cockpit which has dark tinted glass which made it strong for Naruto to see who it was inside, the one on the left is a laser cannon, and the one on the right is a large hand which was currently moving around. Looks like he stepped up his game a bit, said Naruto as the machine rolled by. He quickly called on Tails, yo Tails, I just found Eggman and moving in to engage. Got it, I'm on my way with Cream and Mina, said Tails. Better hurry cause this fight will be over before you know it, Naruto smirked before taking off after the latest soon-to-be trashed mech. Naruto soon caught up with the machine and began to look it over for any signs of a weak point while keeping an eye out for any incoming attacks. He took note of the laser cannon which was currently taking aim as energy gathered at the muzzle before firing a deadly beam straight at him. Naruto dashed to the side to avoid the incoming attack when a shadow fell over him. He looked up only to see that the giant hand was descending towards him in an attempt to smash him to the ground, but he skidded along the ground to reduce his speed in time for the hand to hit the ground a few inches away from him before he picked up speed to pursue the vehicle once more. So that's how it works. Both the laser cannon and hand serves to defend the cockpit as well as attack in both long range and mid-range, said Naruto, placing a steady distance between himself and the vehicle, but keep his eye on the laser cannon. I suggest destroying the laser cannon first before going after the cockpit. I can tell that giant robot hand is built to withstand anything, said Kurama. You have a point there. Well, let's take it to M. Naruto put on a burst of speed to close the gap as the giant hand launched a punch at him. He jumped into the air and placed a palm on the fist before vaulting over. Then he saw the laser cannon fire another beam at him. Swift release, shadow step. He literally blurred from view for the attack to miss completely and reappear before the cannon. Naruto put his hands close together as chakra emitted from the gloves and took on the shape of a spiked two-handed war club and kanabo, which he raised above his head before bringing it down to smash the laser cannon. He was about to attack again when he looked to see the giant hand coming down at him with a karate chop and quickly kicked off the cannon with a somersault to land back on the ground. Naruto looked at the laser cannon, which is now crackling with electricity and moving around erratically and firing beams randomly, with a few shots nearly hitting him if he hadn't been dodging them, in addition of the giant arm attacking him as well. He could tell that one more attack will be able to take down the laser cannon, and he knew just how to go about it. He raised a hand above his head as he channeled chakra to form a spear. The giant hand swiped at him, but he leapt into the air whilst fusing the spear with wind chakra, a gust to swirl around the tip before hurling it. The spear shot like an arrow and pierced right through the laser cannon, causing it to explode. That's the cannon taken care of. Now for the cockpit, said Naruto. Then he dashed forward and performed a slide to evade a smack from the metal hand before leaping into the air above the cockpit, where he curled up and started spinning for a kitsune spiral dash as he impacted the cockpit and began to grind against it and inflicting damage before moving away in case of being attacked. He then saw the hand close into a fist before punching at him. Naruto slowed down a bit before clinging onto the hand with chakra while forming the Rasengan with a free hand before slamming it into the cockpit. The giant hand started to jerk around frantically in an attempt to shake him off. Naruto still held on and reached into his ninja pouch and brought out a handful of regular kunai having explosive tags of a higher grade, which he then threw at the cockpit and embedded themselves deep into the metal. He allowed himself to be thrown and then formed a hand sign before calling out, Kai, for the tags to ignite shortly before unleashing a chain of explosions which destroyed the metal hand as well as the cockpit, while Naruto landed back on the ground and skidded to a stop with a smirk on his face. He sure went out with a big bang, didn't he? Said Naruto. Naruto approached the wreckage with the cockpit in particular when he heard footsteps from behind and smiled upon seeing Tails, Cream and Mina. You guys just missed one of my best boss fights so far, said Naruto with a foxy grin, getting Mina and Cream to giggle while Tails laughed a bit. Now to pop Eggman the big question and find out what's going on. You're right about that, Naruto, said Tails. I hope he could tell us where my mom is, said Cream looking hopeful. Suddenly they heard banging coming from the wrecked cockpit. The glass was shattered outwardly as someone came out of it. This person wasn't, but he was definitely familiar to both Naruto and Tails, who were shocked upon identifying the person. Well, this is unexpected. Kurama mused. Knuckles, said a surprised Tails. What were you doing in there? Asked an equally surprised Naruto. Indeed, it was their friend Knuckles the echidna covered in black oil who was supposed to help them out, not the other way around. Well, the strangest thing happened. Eggman came by and warned me about a group of thieves coming to steal the MSTR emerald and gave me the vehicle which he calls the egg saucer to help me out, said Knuckles, but he was sweating a bit. Naruto could sense that he was feeling nervous and recalled something which Sonic told him. Knuckles, you didn't let Eggman trick you again, did you? Said Naruto with a deadpanned expression. Seeing Knuckles flinch was pretty much his answer. I think he did, again, and this wouldn't be the first time, said Tails, shaking his head in disbelief. But everyone knows that Eggman isn't to be trusted, said Mina. Cheer up, Mr. Knuckles. I'm sure next time you won't be tricked, said Cream cheerfully. Knuckles simply slumped over in depression, every word pretty much hammered at his self-esteem, especially since he has no way to refute their statements. Leave me alone, he barely mumbled. Well, now we don't have any clues of finding Eggman, with the chakra beacon tag being destroyed along with the machine, said Naruto. Not really, I might be able to salvage something useful from Eggman's machine which could give us an idea of where the doctor would be, Tails spoke up. Good idea, Tails, I guess we'll be waiting till you're done then. And when he's done, I'm coming along too, I'm not going to let Eggman get away with making a fool out of me, said Knuckles, clenching his fists with a growl. Again, said Kurama with a snicker. Sure thing, Knux, you can come along, Naruto gave the echidna a thumbs up. Well, we could use a place to rest after all this, said Mina. We'll got to the altar of the emeralds where we can wait for Tails there until he's done, said Knuckles. With Tails starting to work on the salvaging process, Knuckles led the remainder of the group to where he normally resides, which is the altar of the emeralds. It is a mystical ruin where the MSTR emerald is enshrined, with Knuckles serving as its guardian to make sure that no one comes to steal it for selfish purposes. Upon arrival, Naruto gazed at the large green gem and sensed massive amounts of chaos energy from where he stood, and he wasn't even standing next to the ancient relic. Naruto was currently relaxing a bit when he heard Knuckles call out to him. Hey Naruto, I've been meaning to ask, but where's Sonic? I figured that he would be going after Eggman too, so why isn't he with you? Asked the echidna confusedly. Oh, that, Sonic is out on a family vacation with his parents and aunt. They tried inviting me to come along, but I declined and chose to remain behind, that is until this whole thing with Eggman happened, Naruto explained. Knuckles nodded in acceptance of the answer and turned away. That was when Mina walked up to Naruto and spoke to him. Naruto, I think the tags that you gave to me have run out of power, said Mina. Really? Let me see. Naruto stood up and walked up to Mina before taking her hands into his, causing her to blush. You're right, the tags are out of chakra. I'll just have to refill them, it won't take long. Naruto concentrated on his chakra as a blue flaming aura radiated from his body before channeling them into the seal tags. Unknown to him was that due to physical contact with Mina's hands, his chakra was giving a certain sensation. His energy, it feels so warm, like a blanket is covering my whole body to protect me from the cold. Mina was fighting the urge to lean against him and just relax with no worries at all, which was why she let out a small whine when he stopped and let go of her hands. There, all of the tags are restored to full. Is there something wrong? Your face is kinda red. Naruto leaned forward, causing Mina to back up a bit. I am okay. There's nothing wrong at all. I'm just fine, said Mina hastily. Oh, okay, if you say so, said Naruto. She kinda reminds me of Hinata-chan with the way she's acting. Kid still has no clue how much of an effect his chakra has on people and things alike, thought Kurama amusedly. Chakra reflects its owner's personality and emotion, which was why at first Kurama's chakra was red due to his hatred towards humanity until it changed to gold after becoming friends with Naruto. Naruto's chakra in particular was bright and warm, which was why he took to senjutsu quickly. Also accepting his inner darkness made his chakra shine all the more brighter. I'll be doing a little exploring, but I'll be back soon, said Naruto. Cream jumped up and ran next to him with Cheese following her as always. I want to come along too. Okay then, let's go. The duo and Chao were off on a little stroll while marveling at the nature and animals which are running around happily. I guess with the badniks destroyed, the animals can rest easy now. It's nice to see them so happy. Cream nodded in agreement. Suddenly Cheese perked up and flew off much to their surprise. Cheese, where are you going? Let's follow him. Naruto and Cream ran after the little Chao until they saw it fly through a small bush which they pushed aside to reveal a cave hidden behind it. Curiously, the duo wandered through the tunnel and saw a bright light at the end, but upon emerging, Naruto and Cream were surprised with what laid out before them. They were on a wide cliffside with wood railings on the edges. The place is overgrown with lots of grass and soil rounded in the medium by the mountains. In the middle is a lake with a waterfall running into it, and behind it is a cave where Naruto and Cream had come out from. In the lake is a little island with a fruit palm tree on it, and there were ancient ruins, with one being a broken stone bridge scattered all over the place with a few more palm trees. But what surprised them, especially Naruto, the most was the large number of Chao in the area. Some were flying around, others swam in the lake, and a few were chasing each other like they're playing a game. Cream looked rather excited. "Oh, I know this place, it's Chao Garden." "Chao Garden?" asked Naruto confusedly. "It's a place where all the Chao live, and there are lots of gardens all over Mobius," Cream explained. As they walked further into the garden, some of the Chao scampered over and chirped happily as if greeting the newcomers. Naruto smiled and knelt down to pet some of the Chao that leaned into his hands, with the floating dots changing into heart shapes depicting how much they're enjoying it. Naruto and Kurama could agree on one thing: these creatures are the most friendliest they have ever met. As of right now, Naruto and Cream sat down to eat some lunch which the fox had packed into a storage scroll. The Chao were at first surprised before cheering at the sight of his magic trick, and some were hanging on to his tails, but not too tightly this time. After learning from Cream that the wild Chao can also eat homemade cooking, he allowed the curious creatures to eat some of his rice ball, which they found delicious, much to their delight. Naruto was relaxing at the lakeside with Cream and Cheese playing with the Chao when he suddenly felt something tugging his pants and looked down to see that it was another Chao, but this one looks different. Unlike the normal Chao, this one's body is white with blue tips on its hands and feet, while the head is rounded with two small circles on the very top and a small light yellow oval in the belly center. Its eyes are white with a black outline, feathery wings, a split tail, and a small blue halo hovering over its head. Chao Chu, the white Chao, flapped its wings and flew up to his face while chirping its name cheerfully. It had been watching him from afar ever since he came with the rabbit girl and became more and more interested, especially with the aura he was emitting. It was powerful but at the same time gentle and kind, which made the Chao start liking him already, and so wanted to meet him face to face. Naruto smiled and petted its head for the Chao to respond happily. "I haven't seen a Chao like you before. I wonder if Cream knows what you are." He was about to call out to her when he again felt something tug one of his tails a bit roughly. He looked to see what it was but saw nothing and felt another tail getting tugged. Every time he tries to see what tugs his tails, it seems to hide from his sight. So Naruto waited until he felt a tail being touched and quickly used the shadow step to disappear and reappear to see a Chao with its back to him, and this was just as different from both the normal and white Chao. This Chao's body is dark red-brown with magenta and violet tips on its hands, feet and head. There is a light pink mark in the shape of a crescent on the top of its. It also has bat-like wings, a devil's tails and a pink spike ball hovering about its head. Feeling the need for payback, Naruto used a tail to tap the Chao, which caused it to jump into the air with a loud "Choa," as it turned around to reveal a row of sharp teeth, and its eyes were white with a sky blue outline. The Chao was currently frowning at a smirking Naruto. "Hey, you can't be mad at me, you played a trick on me, so it only makes sense for me to do the same, which makes us even," said Naruto with a foxy grin, getting the Chao to grin back at him. "Nice set of teeth, bet it could bite through a lot of things," said Kurama with a smirk. "Choa Choa," said the darkened Chao. It was also watching Naruto when he showed up and thought to play a trick on him, and certainly wasn't expecting the fox to do the same, but it was all in good fun. "Chow Chow," the white Chao flew up to it and chirped in greeting for the other to wave as if saying, "Yo," which reminded Naruto of how his sensei would do the same before saying a lame excuse for being late. "I guess the two of you know each other?" asked Naruto. The two Chao nodded as the white Chao sat on his shoulder and the other settled on top of his spiky blonde hair. It was then he heard footsteps and turned to see Cream and Cream approaching them. "Naruto I.O." Cream stopped in mid-sentence and gasped upon seeing the Chao with Naruto. "Oh, Cream-chan, I was just about to ask if you know these two Chao," said Naruto. "Yes, I do. The white one with the blue halo is a hero Chao, while the black one with the pink spiked ball is a dark Chao. The hero Chao are very kind-hearted and like to help people with good intentions like you, and the dark Chao are known for being very rowdy and like to play tricks on others for fun," said Cream. "So that's what they are," I can relate to them too. I always protect those close to me with everything I've got, and back in my younger days I've been a prankster with no one being able to catch me or prove that I was the one, said Naruto with a look of nostalgia. The hero Chao chirped happily and the dark Chao smirked from his words. Beep, 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 beep. The beeping sound from the gloves alerted Naruto of a call from Tails, to which he quickly answered in response. Naruto here, what's up Tails? Naruto, I've managed to figure out where Eggman could have gone and how to get us there. We're all waiting back at the altar, so you and Cream need to get back as soon as possible, said Tails. Got it, we're on our way, said Naruto before closing the comm link. It's time for us to go back to the others, Cream-chan. Okay Naruto, said Cream as she and Cream got ready to leave. Naruto placed both Chao on the ground. I have to get going, but I'll be sure to visit you afterwards, okay? Then he walked away with Cream and Cheese towards the tunnel and back to the others, not noticing the sad look on the hero Chao's face and the frown on the dark Chao. Choo, hero Chao chirped sadly, then it felt a tap on the shoulder and turned to dark Chao. Choa choa, choa choa choa, dark Chao pointed at the tunnel where their new friend just went through. Chao. Hero Chao perked up at what its dark counterpart just said. Dark Chao nodded with a wide grin. Choa choa. Back with Naruto and Cream, they had returned to the altar of the emeralds where they met up with the others and saw some sort of contraption next to Tails. Hey guys, we're back. And what's that? Asked Naruto. It's related to where Eggman has gone. After salvaging enough parts, I found a chip that contained information about entry to the datascape, which is where he has gone to. Datascape? As in going inside a computer? Asked Mina confusedly. That's right, Tails affirmed the question. So how exactly are we going to enter a computer? Asked Knuckles. Tails fondly patted the device next to him. With this baby right here, powered by the Chaos Emerald, it will generate a portal that will grant us entry into the server belonging to Eggman with the chip I found. Okay then Tails, fire it up and let's dash. Naruto was talking when something interrupted by tackling him from behind to the ground before he could react and heard two familiar sounds. Chao. Choa. Naruto's eyes widened in shock as he quickly sat up to see the hero and Dark Chao hovering before him with a smile and grin respectively, while the others looked on with surprise as well. Knuckles then spoke up to ask Naruto. That's a hero Chao and a Dark Chao. What are they doing here and why did they come to you? Asked Knuckles confusedly. Well, Cream and I found a hidden Chao Garden where we played with the Chao and befriended these two. I don't know why they're here though, Naruto explained to them. The hero Chao then started chirping, Chao Chao Chao, Chao Chao. Cream, being able to understand the Chao thanks to the time spent with Cheese, translated what it was saying. He said that they didn't want you to leave them, so they decided to come with. They must really like you, Naruto. Naruto turned to the Chao. Is that true? You really want to come along? They nodded in affirmation to his question. Then he smiled. Then you're welcome to join then. The hero chirped cheerfully and hugged his face while the Dark Chao smirked in response. Never expected to see a Chao befriend someone out of their garden, said Knuckles. Aw, that's so cute. You need to give each of them a name, said Mina. Naruto thought deeply for a moment before perking up as he pointed at the hero Chao. Your name will be Ko, which means light. Then he turned to Dark Chao, and yours will be Yoru, which means dark. What do you think? Both newly named Chao responded happily to their new names. Those are very nice names, Naruto, said Cream with Cheese chirping in agreement. Thanks, now let's get going as there's no time to waste, said Naruto. Got it, Naruto, starting it up now. Tails punched in a few codes on the device as a humming sound was then heard before a blue beam shot out from it and diverged to form a circular swirling portal before the group. That's the portal to the datascape. Let's go. Everyone ran inside with Knuckles carrying the device along through the portal before it fizzled out to nothing. Upon exiting from the other side of the portal, Naruto and the others found themselves looking at an interesting environment. On the walls are big computer chips connected by blue and green circuits, which all of a sudden turn into a flashing red light and then gets distorted like a broken TV. The ground appears to be made out of multicolored pixels and beeping sounds could be heard around them. According to the chip this server is called Techno Base, said Tails thoughtfully. Well, now that we're here, let's go find Eggman and give what's coming to him, said Knuckles as he bumped his fists together. Then let's split up, Tails and Knuckles will go west while Mina and Cream pair up again to take the east, and for me I'll be going north. Contact once you find anything of interest, said Naruto. Got it. Knuckles and Tails took off in one direction while Mina and Cream went in another. Kohiro Chao settled on his hair and Yora Dark Chao sat in the hood of his vest before taking off at high speed. Naruto ran along the pixelated path as he reached a large gap along the way and was about to perform a chakra-enhanced jump across it when a stream of data materialized in between the gap to form some sort of bridge for him to use. After crossing it, he ran down a small slope then bounced up from a spring to land on top of a large cube which quickly elevated upon landing and stopped to fling him up to a platform above where a badnik was waiting for him. It was a bizarre-looking winged bot which was hovering in the air. The badnik flew above Naruto and launched a laser blast at him, but he evaded with a backflip and conjured a pair of chakra shuriken enhanced with his wind affinity and threw them at the badnik to slice its wings off for it to fall to the ground where he smashed it up with a roundhouse kick. He continued onwards and crossed over another digital bridge to run up a ramped wall and along the ceiling where he flipped off to land on another large cube which elevated his to an upper level. Naruto dashed across the platform to run down the wall where he kicked off to grind along a rail made of data to the lower level. He was dashing to the edge when something suddenly flickered into sight to reveal spikes which Naruto hastily leapt over, but that led to him falling down a long way before landing on top of rail which he grinded down to the lower level. Now how do I get out of here, said Naruto looking around a bit. Ko patted his head to catch his attention before pointing ahead where two walls are positioned parallel to each other with their surfaces, reminding Naruto of those piano keys from the musical plant. Good eye Ko, the hero Chao chirped happily as it and Yora flew in the air as Naruto performed his kitsune spiral dash and jumped at the bumper-like walls and proceeded to bounce upwards till he got back to the other side of the upper levels. He dashed along the path and bounced off a diagonal spring into a combo of several more before a spring changed his direction to land on platform where he ran up a ramped wall to the top before kicking off to land on the next level to boosts off a data construct of a dash panel to launch off a dash ramp and land on a grind rail ahead which he rode along to somersault at the end. Naruto ran along the path when more of the winged badniks materialized to attack. He formed a windmill shuriken this time to take down some of them. Then Yora flew straight at the last of the badniks and actually chomped parts of it off with its sharp teeth with the fox looking stunned. I always thought that Chao's got some bite, I like it, Kurama smirked at the sight, revealing his own set of teeth. That's really something, Yoru, said Naruto. Choa, the dark Chao responded with a smirk, displaying his teeth. He resumed running and reached the edge with a large gap but increased his speed before jumping high into the air and performed his shadow flight technique to cross the gap and land on the side. The fox took a downward path and stepped on a large cube which carried him forward to run up a ramped wall to the upper level. There he boosted off a dash panel to go through an uphill loop and then a downhill loop before bouncing off a chain of springs sending him downwards before the last one bounced him up to a platform. He jumped down the lower platforms before bouncing off a spring to land on a grind rail to the other where there is a hole ahead for him to jump into and land on top of a cube to be moved to the next platform where he ran off the edge down the wall and along the ceiling to hit a spring, bouncing down along a few more and land on the ground. There he boosted from a dash panel and ran up a ramped wall all the way to the top. Naruto ran down the sloped pathway through a downward loop to the lower level and launched off a dash ramp to grind along a sloped rail which he flipped off to land on a large cube and was elevated to the top where he jumped up to bounce against the bumper-like walls to climb even higher and land on the next platform. A group of badniks materialized and attacked in an attempt to intercept him. Naruto took Hiroshin kunai in one hand and formed a katana in the other, a chapter from my dad's ninja handbook. He threw the kunai for it to fly in the middle of the group before disappearing in a yellow flash and then reappeared behind the badniks having caught the kunai and the katana appearing to have performed the motion of a slash. The badniks fell to the ground in pieces and Naruto then spoke, flying Raijin. Slash, he ran down a slope and grinded along a rail before running down ledge to bounce down from springs which then switched to bouncing him forwards and then finally landing on the ground with a lengthy skid. Naruto reduced his speed down to a jog as he looked around for any sort of clues which could lead him and the group to wherever Eggman could be hiding, and so far he's getting nothing, not even a smidge. The Chao were also looking, wanting to help their new friend but were saddened from being unsuccessful. "We've come this far and there's still no sign of Eggman, where's that smart omelet?" said Naruto. "Would have been easier if you used your sage mode, but there's no natural energy in a computer," said Kurama. "I know that much, buddy. But we're losing time here, it's only a matter of time before he leaves this place altogether." Beep, beep. A sound came from the ECG gloves and it wasn't the one signaling a call from Tails. He curiously tapped the crystal and the interface materialized while displaying a 3D blue arrow pointing straight ahead, but he noticed that when he turned his body, the arrow would change direction, telling him that it's a compass but leading him to where. Suddenly he heard the sound of radio static and a voice was heard only barely. "KSSH low KSSSHT ro." "Did you get that, Kurama?" asked Naruto. "I couldn't hear it any more clearly than you, but it seems like someone is telling you to follow the directions of the compass," said Kurama. "What if it's a trap? Then we use Bijou mode to burst out with no problem. I doubt Eggman has anything capable of restraining our true strength." "If you say so, then I follow the compass." So Naruto and the Chao followed the compass as it led them through the area, at times climbing up a few levels and vice versa till he walked around a corner only to quickly double back to hide before poking his head out to scope the area. It was a wide room and at the center is some sort of white diamond hovering while encased in a circular transparent dome shield. Patrolling the place are badniks whom he recognizes from previous zones. "Well, it isn't a trap, more like they're protecting something. It must be very important for Eggman to post this much security," said Naruto. "Then let's take a closer look after clearing them out," said Kurama. Naruto reached into his ninja pouch and took out a single kunai which he channeled his wind chakra through before dashing into the room and grabbing the attention of all the badniks as they turned towards him and were about shuriken shadow clone jutsu. He flung the kunai and watched as it multiplied into 1,000 copies of the original before piercing through every single one of the badniks, making them appear like Swiss cheese. Naruto walked into the room and approached the diamond when his gloves started beeping for him to tap the crystal and hear the voice much more clearly, albeit it sounded feminine. "We finally meet Naruto Uzumaki," said the voice. Naruto noticed the diamond glowing as the voice spoke, then realized that it was the one that led him here. "Who or what are you, and how did you know my name?" "My name is Nicole and I am an artificial intelligence. I know of your name from the records of Dr. Eggman's records of his encounters with you," said Nicole. "So you're a creation of Eggman?" Naruto braced himself for combat in case it was a trap after all. "Negative, the professor is not my creator. I was forcefully from the database of my true originator Dr. Elodie. I was created for an untold directive which I had immediately failed upon activation due to lacking a certain function. I was to be deleted, but Dr. Elodie withheld on that decision and stored me away deep within his database before leaving without a word. A year later I was extracted from the database by Dr. Eggman and enforced to function under his command," said Nicole. Naruto frowned at hearing her story. He was angry at both doctors for what they did, and that was putting it lightly. Her creator for his negligence just because she didn't have what he wanted and threw her away, and don't even get him started on Eggman. He's got a lot to be mad at the doctor, which includes kidnapping and enslavement. It was within my duration within this server that I had created a new directive which is to be free from Eggman. However, there were numerous restrictions placed upon me, preventing any escape. So the next logical plan would be to seek assistance from an outside source. Then you could have asked Sonic for help, Naruto pointed. Plausible, however he is absent and lacked technology for the assistance. But you possess both requirements. Okay then, how do I help you out of there? Asked Naruto. There was a pause before Nicole responded. I find it illogical for you to lend me your assistance without having asked for further reasoning. Naruto simply shrugged. You were taken and forced to work for Eggman, and you want to leave him. That's more than enough reason for me to help you out, if I needed a reason to begin with. Simply illogical. Very well, you would have to disable the shielding and touch me directly with one of your gloves, then I shall begin the download. Got it. Naruto approached the shield and placed a hand on it, tapping a few times, then took a stance with an open hand, palm reared back as blue energy gathered around and formed a spiraling sphere. Rasengan. He rammed his signature technique into the shield and watched as it grinded through before finally shattering. He walked up to the diamond-shaped object and touched it. Okay, Nicole-chan. I'm touching it. Affirmative, I'm proceeding with the download, said Nicole. A holographic screen popped up from the glove and streams of data starting rolling by with a long bar slowly filling up before it was complete, followed by beeps and the diamond stopped glowing and dulled. Download complete. That's good to hear. By any chance do you know where I can find Eggman? Asked Naruto curiously. Affirmative, I will give you coordinates to where the doctor is located as you go, said Nicole. Thanks a lot, Nicole-chan, said Naruto happily. Why do you add chan to my name? It's illogical, asked Nicole. Oh, it's an honorific I usually attach to girls whom I'm friends with. You consider me a friend? It's illogical from the amount of time we've spent just a moment ago. Length of time means nothing when it comes to being friends to me. Let's go. Naruto took off after sending a message to Tails to track him down so they'll meet up. Naruto was currently running up and down the rolling hills before it suddenly sharply sloped downwards, then rise slightly. He ran off through an inverse loop and took to the air to land on a platform. Nicole directed Naruto to run across a digital bridge where he boosted off a dash panel to run up a ramped wall to the ceiling where he flipped off the edge to bounce up from a spring to the higher level. He continued his run and dived down a hole and land on a grind rail which took him to a large cube and was elevated towards two walls with bumper-like surfaces where he used his spin dash to bounce upwards to the next platform. Take the spring to a grind rail, it leads to a route above, said Nicole. Naruto complied as he dashed towards said spring and bounced high into the air and grinded along the rail to the other side. Some badniks appeared from below the edge of the platform. Naruto lengthened his claws with chakra and pounced at one to slash it to bits before leaping at another till all were taken down to latch on to a wall with chakra from his feet and run up along it, then flipping to the top. He ran towards where a spring was situated to redirect him up a slope towards another spring to be bounced up to higher ground, barely a row of spikes which materialized in midair, so Naruto formed to toss him over it before landing back on the ground. Naruto saw a grind rail ahead of him as he ran and performed a long jump upon reaching the edge of the platform to get across the gap and land on it, then riding along to the other side. There he ran downhill at high speed and jumped at a wall where he slid down to the bottom of a ramp before running down another slope to redirect himself with a spring at the end and sped forwards. There's a hole ahead which you must descend into to cross a digital bridge, said Nicole. Got it, Nicole-chan. Naruto ran ahead and dived into the hole and landed on the lower levels. He waited a moment till the digital bridge materialized over the gap before quickly making his way across to the other side of the platform. He boosted off a dash panel to zip through a shuttle loop and up a tall ramped wall to kick off from one wall to another repetitively until arriving at the top of the next platform. He dashed along the pixelated pathway and launched off a dash ramp towards a group of hovering badniks where he performed the kitsune spiral dash to bounce off each of them to land on a small platform with a spring at the center to send upwards and running along a ceiling to the top of a large cube. The cube moved to the side towards a platform for Naruto to resume his run, which sent him rushing up a slope and bouncing from a spring at the end to move along a ceiling again before jumping to dive to the next lower levels and using a dash ramp to pass through several dash rings to maneuver over a large bottomless pit. Landing at the other side, Naruto boosted off a dash panel and bounced off a diagonal spring along a combo of several more into two walls with bumper-like surfaces to ascend to the top before diving back to the ground on the other sector. Naruto channeled. chakra into one of his gloves to fire a grappling hook which embedded into a wall, and he swung along in a wide arc with the Chao holding on tightly and cheering loudly as they're having fun before he landed with a roll on the ground before dashing down the slope and through a half loop to land on a large cube to be elevated to the highest level. "Okay, where to next?" asked Naruto. "Nicole-chan. Are you there?" "Huh? Oh yes, just keep moving straight ahead. Dr. Eggman isn't too far now." "Okay, I was worried for a moment since you weren't responding. My apologies, all of my systems are functional." Naruto nodded in understanding and continued with the run, leaving the female AI to her. What were those sensations? They weren't in my system for the longest time till now. This requires analysis for their presence. Naruto was running along the pathway which Nicole directed him through and couldn't help but take note of the slightly bigger above his head because it differed from the rails which he grinds along while he ran around here. He was snapped out of his thoughts when Ko tapped his head and was pointing behind. He looked to see Knuckles catching up to him. "Hey Naruto, wait up!" Knuckles called out to him. "Hey Knuckles, where are Tails and the others?" asked Naruto. "They're right behind me and would soon show up. So any sign of Eggman yet?" "Not yet, but I'm sure we're on the right track. Do you hear that?" asked Naruto, hearing a faint sound. "Yeah, I hear it too," Knuckles replied. The humming sound grew louder until something overshadowed them and went past for the duo to see what it was. It was a yellow egg mobile which is moving along the rail with 4 platforms attached and encircling it, 2 orange and 2 gray with each platform having a blue light on them. "Proceed with caution Naruto, that is one of Eggman's most recent inventions, the egg go-round." Nicole. "What's that?" asked Knuckles about the voice coming from the gloves. "A new companion during my run. Turns out Eggman forced her to work for him before I busted her out," Naruto explained. Eggman looked down from his cockpit and was shocked upon seeing Naruto and Knuckles running side by side in pursuit of him. "What? How did you get here?" the doctor demanded. "That's for us to know and for you to figure out." "Nice try on transporting here to lose us," said Naruto. "It's time for you to pay for tricking me Eggman," said Knuckles. "You'll have to defeat my invention before doing that. That can be easy fixed." Naruto and Knuckles drew close to the vehicle, noticing that the 4 platforms were rotating clockwise around the cockpit, and sought out a weakness before deciding on striking at the cockpit directly to inflict some serious damage. Naruto waited until a blue platform was within his jumping range, then leapt onto it with his gloves forming a pair of clawed gauntlets and was about to pounce at the cockpit when the blue light suddenly changed to red before the platform spun rapidly for Naruto to be taken by surprise and fall to the ground. "I guess those platforms aren't for show," Naruto mused. "Well, that won't stop us." It was Knuckles taking his turn to jump onto the second blue platform and quickly leapt to the yellow one before it started spinning, but then Naruto noticed Eggman smirking and realized that something was up. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto created a copy of himself who threw a Hiroshin kunai at Knuckles before disappearing in a yellow flash and reappeared to grab the echidna, then throw him high into the air. Knuckles used his natural ability to glide in the air before glaring at the clone. "Hey! What's the big-eyed dash?" He stopped in mid-sentence when he saw spikes shoot out from the yellow platform after the blue light changed to red and struck the clone for it to be dispelled. Whoa, it was a trap. Then from the center of the egg mobile, orange electrified bullets shot out at both of the pursuing duo. Knuckles veered left and right to avoid the incoming projectiles while gliding. Naruto was about to dodge with his swift release when Ko flew in front of him. Chao, the hero Chao's body outlined with a white aura, then it put its hands forward to conjure a large white energy shield which reflected the projectiles back at Eggman, damaging the cockpit. "Whoa, didn't know you could do that, Ko," said Naruto. Ko simply chirped happily while Yoru seemed to be pouting. Analysis complete. The blue platform rotates to prevent mounting and yellow platform extends spikes for attacks. Signals for activation is when blue light changes to red on current platform. Nicole spoke up. "Thanks for the info Nicole-chan," said Naruto with a smile. "Why, you're welcome," the female AI stammered, feeling all the more confused why her speech wavered like that. Yo Nux, don't be on the platforms when the lights turn red and watch out for his shots. Naruto called out to his partner who nodded in affirmation. Got it, things just became much easier now. He waited for the red light on a yellow platform to change back to blue before jumping onto it, then lunging at the cockpit with a fist reared back and slammed it to deal some serious damage, then landing back on the ground. My turn. Naruto formed a shadow clone which transformed itself into a foldable windmill shuriken that he threw before disappearing as well. Eggman fired at the incoming projectile and managed to knock it off course, but a second windmill shuriken appeared from another angle and slashed at the gun turret before puffing into smoke and revealing Naruto Demon Wind Shuriken, Windmill of Shadows. He followed it up with a blue spiraling sphere in hand Rasengan. He rammed it into the cockpit directly at where Knuckles punched for critical damage, causing the egg-go-round to explode with Eggman frantically ejecting from the vehicle in a slightly smaller egg mobile and glared at the duo. DMNU2. Your continuous interference is ruining a majority of my plans. I must push up my schedule of world domination before you ruin that too. Eggman pushed a button for a white beam to shoot out from the egg mobile and diverge to form a circular swirling portal which he flew through for it to close behind. Rats. He's a slippery one. Knuckles growled. Agreed, but there's his talk about world domination, said Naruto. He always tries to do that, but we always put a stop to that. That was when Tails, Mina and Cream showed up, and the duo filled them in on what transpired as well as Naruto introducing Nicole to them much to Tails' fascination. Now the question is where he would go to commence with his world domination plan, said Tails. I may know of where the doctor would go to next. Nicole spoke up for everyone to stare at the glove. Do you where? Asked Mina. Affirmative. When Naruto attacked with his technique, I used that opportunity to hack into his system and download some data. According to it, he must have retreated to his hideout which is situated in space called Egg Utopia, and I have the coordinates that will transport us there with your device. Hang on, and I'll bring it out. Naruto took out a scroll from the pouch on his vest and unrolled it to channel chakra onto one of the seals to bring out the portal device which brought them into the datascape. Okay, inputting coordinates, there. We're all set for transport. Tails had activated the device as it projected another portal to their next destination. Time to settle things with Eggman, said Mina. Ditto. Knuckles nodded in affirmation. Looks like we're at peak condition, let's go. Naruto ran into the portal, quickly followed by the others to where they'll face Eggman with nowhere to run this time. Within the exosphere of the planet Earth, a spacecraft is currently in orbit for an unknown purpose. It is a massive spherical space station with concave eye sockets and a mustache rendered in kilometers of vacuum-hardened plasma steel, such in the likeness of Dr. Eggman. It was within this orbital fortress that a portal materialized and several figures emerged from it, revealing to be Naruto and the others who had been pursuing the doctor all the way into space. So this is his little hideaway, huh? Said Naruto as he looked around, though he had to admit that this is the very first time he's been to outer space. Kurama himself was just as interested. Some things never change around here with Eggman. We'll PND this place back to the ground after dealing with him, said Knuckles. But first we'll have to find him first, said Mina. Naruto nodded in affirmation, and as always, we'll need to split up and look around. The pairs are Knuckles, Cream and Mina, while Tails and I will go together. No doubt that Eggman is aware of our coming and had prepared his forces to attack, so be careful. A plausible tactic. May I suggest locating the control room first so that I may manipulate the surveillance system which we could use to locate the doctor as well as Cream's mother. An AI program by the name Nicole spoke up from Naruto's ECG energy convert gloves. That's a great idea, Nicole. We'll definitely find Eggman that way, said Tails. Now that we all know where to go, let's hit the road. Naruto turned around and took off with Ko and Yora hanging on to his jacket. Hey Naruto, wait for me. Tails spun his twin tails rapidly to propel himself forward after his fellow fox while the others went in a different direction. Naruto and Tails ran along the pathway which went downhill and led through a hallway to the end where a grind rail was waiting for them to ride along while exposed to the exterior of outer space, much to Naruto's surprise, but snapped back into focus as a single misstep spells doom for him and his companion. Grinding down the sloped rail sent the duo back into the interior of the space station as they ran up a hill and jumped over a row of spikes to bounce off a spring at the other side close to wall to ascend to an upper level where a buzzer badnik aimed at them and fired an energy bullet. Tails quickly grabbed onto Naruto's hand and lifted him higher with his tail spinning rapidly like a rotor. Naruto channeled chakra into a glove to form a handful of shuriken which he threw at the badnik to destroy it. Dropping back to the ground, the duo ran downhill while gaining speed, then dropped to a lower hill where they launched themselves off a dash ramp to catch some air and land on a platform which was jumped from across a gap in between to land on another platform. There they boosted off a dash panel straight into some sort of cannon which they used their spin dash to gain entry. The muzzle aimed upwards and shoot them towards an upper platform where they smashed into several badniks resembling bats which flew by rotating their wings that jut from their sides like a propeller. Then they dropped down to a pathway to boost off a dash panel to run up a ramped wall to get high into the air and land on top of a platform. Naruto and Tails ran along it to find themselves getting into yet another cannon which aimed straight ahead and shot them there to a pathway where they jumped down to land on top of a circular platform which suddenly slid down a slope to the outer section of the space station and flew off a ramp into the air. Naruto quickly looked around until he saw a grind rail above them. Tails, jump up to the rail now. Okay. Tails replied. Both foxes leapt towards the grind rail overhead and rode along as it sloped downwards before they flipped off from it to land safely back into the interior of the fortress where they landed on top of a miniature launch pad which rocketed forwards to fling them across the path, but they landed properly and continued with their run. Naruto and Tails was running along the route and passed by a large red computer panel with a footing marked with a triangle in front of it, and the computer screen is black while displaying a green arrow pointing. Suddenly they were lifted off from the ground towards the ceiling where they landed feet first, much to Naruto as he's not using chakra to latch on. What's going on? Asked Naruto confusedly. We must have activated a gravity control SWCH, said Tails. Gravity Control SWCH. Nicole began to explain. It is a device that changes the flow of gravity, which is the reason why you're both able to remain on the ceiling without falling to the ground. Wow, thanks for the info Nicole-chan, said Naruto with a smile. Nicole felt strange again when he smiled at her but responded anyways. I'm glad to offer assistance to you. These sensations continue to occur whenever she interacts with Naruto but just couldn't deduce why. Naruto and Tails dropped upwards and narrowly avoiding a row of spikes upon landing before jumping to grab onto a vertical pole and revolved around it while ascending, then running along the ceiling past a gravity control SWCH to have their flow of gravity redirected and land back on the ground as they dashed downhill where they grinded along a rail at the edge to somersault at the end and land onto an upper platform. The duo ran to the end where they bounced off a spring to go through an upward guiding loop straight along a slope into a downhill loop before a downward guiding loop to land on a grind rail before jumping off to land on the pathway where they bounced off a diagonal spring to ascend to the upper level. Upon landing, the foxes boosted off a dash panel to run up a ramped wall and bounce upwards from a diagonal spring through a chain of springs after the first to the next platform with a grind rail at the end which they rode along in the fortress's exterior before arriving on a platform where they boosted from a dash panel to zip through a shuttle loop and up a ramped wall to land on the upper level as they dropped down a gap to get on yet another circular, which started sliding downhill and launched off a dash ramp to fly across a bottomless gap. The duo leapt off the platform to land safely back in the fortress's interior ere they ran past a gravity control SWCH to be sent up to the ceiling where they ran along a upward slope to the end of a wall to find another gravity control SWCH to get back to the ground. There they used a spring to propel themselves forward to hit another spring and be redirected down another sloped pathway and straight ahead to run up a tall ramped way all the way to the ceiling but jumped down to a platform. Below where they boosted off a dash panel through a shuttle loop to bounce off a spring with a gravity control SWCH, sending them up to the ceiling for a launch pad to fling them along for their flow of gravity to be reverted by another gravity control SWCH as they landed back on the ground. "I think we're getting somewhere close to the surveillance room," said Tails. "I hope you're right, Tails." Naruto responded as they ran along the pathway at high speed before diving into a cannon with the muzzle aiming upwards before launching them across a big gap outside the fortress to land on a platform where they ran through a shuttle loop before launching off a dash ramp towards a row of vertical bars which they used to get across. Back into the fortress. They ran along the pathway and boosted off a dash panel as they went through a shuttle loop and up a tall ramped wall before dropping down a gap onto yet another circular platform as it slid down the slope and launched off a dash ramp as they jumped off and were running through the deeper sections of Egg Utopia. Naruto and Tails were running through the hallways when they skidded to a stop before a metal door with a control panel next to it. Suspecting it to be their marked destination, Naruto approached the control panel while wondering how to open the door when Nicole spoke up. "Place your hand on the panel, I'll begin the hacking," said the female AI. "Okay, Nicole-chan. Go for it." Naruto placed a hand on the panel and watched as a holographic screen appeared from the blue crystal and streams of data starting rolling by until a beep was heard from the panel and the metal doors slid apart to reveal entry. "Bypass complete. Thanks for the help," said Tails. They went inside to find themselves in a room full of monitors attached to the walls with an interface in front of them. In one of the screens they saw Knuckles, Cream and Mina running along a pathway while taking down some badniks on the way. Tails started tapping on the panel while Naruto placed a hand on it too for Nicole to join in the hacking of the system with him looking on. "There, we found Eggman." Tails pushed a button to change the channel on the monitors to display Eggman flying in his egg mobile in an unknown section of the space station. "That's good, but any sign of Cream-chan's mother?" asked Naruto. "All cameras have been scanned but none provided information of her whereabouts in the fortress," said Nicole. "Maybe Eggman is keeping her somewhere close to him," said Tails. "Well, let's go look for him then," said Naruto. "I've pinpointed the doctor's current location, I can lead you to him," said Nicole with the holographic screen displaying a map of Egg Utopia with a blinking red dot showing where Eggman is. "Okay, Nicole-chan, show us the way." Naruto and Tails ran out of the surveillance room and in direction of the doctor's currently location. The duo were running down the hill and picking up speed. There they jumped towards a descending handrail and grabbed onto it, sliding down to the other end and land on the ground where they passed by a gravity control SWCH to run on the ceiling where they stepped on a launch pad which flung them to the outskirts of the fortress as they grinded along an upward rail to the other side where they were bounced down from a spring and passed through a dash ring to land back on the ground below. The foxes ran to the end of the platform to ride along a grind rail and somersaulted at the end to land on another platform where they jumped into a cannon, the muzzle aimed upwards and launched them into the air where a gravity control SWCH had them landing on the ceiling. Naruto and Tails ran along the ceiling and through a shuttle loop where they boosted off a dash panel to run down the wall to the ground before dropping back to the ceiling and bounced down from a spring to descend towards the lower level. There they stepped on another launch pad to be flung over a gap and dashed up a slope towards a spring to descend another level before hopping into a cannon which as always launched them upwards to the ceiling for a gravity control SWCH to send them back to the ground. The duo ran out to the outskirts once more and grinded along a sloped rail to jump onto a platform where they boosted off a dash panel to grind up a slanted rail to the next pathway as they dashed at high speed, then launching off a dash ramp to land on a grind rail above, leading them back into the fortress's interior to bounce off a spring and have their flow of gravity redirected to the ceiling again for a short distance before dropping back to the ground. The foxes ran forward and leapt at a vertical pole which they used to spiral down to the lower level and dropped onto a dash panel to run up a ramped wall where several buzzer badniks laid in wait before opening fire on them. Naruto dashed to the side to evade the shots while channeling chakra into his gloves to form a rope which he twirled around before shooting it forward to pierce through two of the airborne badnik. Yoro lunged at a badnik with its teeth bared and chomped it repeatedly into little pieces while Ko emitted a white aura from its body and charged forward to smash through several. Tails himself was using his tail ends to slice several badniks apart till all enemies were destroyed. "You're getting close, the doctor's not too far from here," said Nicole. "Got it, let's pick up the pace, guys." "We're almost there," said Naruto. "Okay, Naruto," Tails responded. They stepped on a dash panel for a rapid acceleration as the duo ran through a shuttle loop to running down the ledge to bounce off a diagonal spring from a platform below to ascend towards to the upper level, which the route took them to the outskirts again where a launch pad flung them across the gap towards a wall ahead to bounce along a series of springs and ascend to the top, back into the fortress. They ran to the edge of the platform to slid down another handrail to the other side to boost off from a dash panel straight up a ramped wall through an upward loop and launched off a dash ramp to grab onto a gymnastic bar where he spun around a few times before swngng off to land on the ground and resumed the run with Tails flying next to him. The duo ran by a gravity control SWCH to take to the ceiling where they grinded along an ascending rail and boosted off a dash panel through a downward loop to the ground straight into a cannon which had the muzzle aiming downward this time before firing them to the ground, which they landed with a roll, then speeding through a pair of uphill loops, then stepping on a launch pad to be thrown over a bottomless to land on the other side safely and finding themselves running through a very large hallway. "This is where Dr. Eggman was last sighted," said Nicole. "Okay, but where is he?" asked Tails, looking around confusedly. "Just keep your eyes and ears out, he might show up from anywhere." Naruto listened for any unfamiliar sounds for a few moments and sure enough he heard sounds of an engine heading their ways, and "Here he comes, behind us." No sooner he said that did a vehicle pass by them and they could see it more clearly from up close. This vehicle bears a resemblance to a two-legged spider with its two long legs, which has a pair of wheels attached to the ends as they hold up the cockpit where there are two large holes on and below it. In the cockpit, Eggman was sneering at the Fox duo as they ran after him in his latest invention. "I shouldn't be too surprised that you chased me all the way up here. But now you're playing in my turf where my victory is guaranteed, with my newly invented egg frog. Prepare to meet your demise." Naruto and Tails along with the Chao tilted their heads in confusion at the doctor's introduction of his new weapon, as something doesn't seem to be making sense. "Egg frog? But it resembles more of a spider than a frog, like the one Sonic destroyed some time ago," said Tails. "It's not a spider, it's a frog," said Eggman angrily. Naruto shook his head in disagreement. "Nope, it definitely looks more like a spider from our point of view. According to my visual scans, the likeness is that of a spider," said Nicole, getting a sense of satisfaction from the statement towards the doctor. "I guess his evilness has affected his ability to tell between an amphibian and an arachnid," said Kurama musingly. Eggman gritted his teeth in anger at their statements. "To have the nerve of criticizing my invention, you'll pay for that." Naruto smirked in anticipation as the crystals on his gloves glowed with energy. "Looks like it's game on. Let's go, Tails." "Roger that," said Tails in affirmation. As they ran after the doctor, Nicole suddenly spoke up to them. "Please be alert that there is a continuous shift in the area. A high enough jump will shift your flow of gravity to the ceiling." No sooner did she say those words when the egg frog brought the wheeled legs close together before springing up to the ceiling while dropping a missile to the ground and remained up there. The missile landed on the ground to explode into a long trail of fire which headed towards the duo. "Guess that's why he called it the egg frog, even though it looks like a spider," said Kurama. Tails quickly took to the air and held his hands out to Naruto. "Quick, grab on Naruto." The fox immediately complied and jumped to grab onto Tails' hands as he was lifted above the fiery trail to successfully evade being burnt. "Thanks for the save," said Naruto. "No problem," Tails replied. "Get me to the ceiling and I'll attack Eggman from there." Tails flew higher and threw Naruto to the ceiling for the gravity shift to take effect before rushing towards the mech as he stretched out a hand to form a Rasengan to attack. Eggman saw him coming and jumped down to ground whilst dropping to launch a fire trail to attack the fox. Naruto quickly threw a Hiroshin kunai to the ground and flashed towards it to evade, however he noticed that Eggman wasn't ahead of him, which means, "Naruto, look out behind you." Tails called out in alert. Naruto looked behind to see the egg frog charging towards him and was too late to dodge the charge as he got hit and was sent tumbling across the ground, much to Tails' worry and Eggman's satisfaction. "Gotcha, huh?" Eggman's smirk disappeared when he saw the fox explode in a puff of smoke which dissipated to reveal a wooden log along with 2 sticks rolling along the ground. What the? Where did he go? "Look up here." He did just that to see Naruto diving towards him with a blue spiraling sphere of energy, Rasengan. He ran the jutsu to inflict great damage to the egg frog before flipping back on the ground. "Was that the body replacement jutsu you told me about?" asked Tails. "Yup, with it I can swch places with a wooden log or other things. Which is perfect for attacking enemies when their guard is down, like with ol' Egghead over there," said Naruto. "Amazing, simply a versatile technique," said Nicole in wonder. "Jiraiya, why you little?" Eggman operated the egg frog to stand sideways with one wheel attached to the ceiling with the other remaining on the ground, with the bottom muzzle aiming at the duo before proceeding to fire missiles at them repeatedly. "Oh boy, take cover!" Naruto shouted out. They jumped from side to side and at times jumped to the ceiling in order to evade the incoming missiles and fire trails, but Eggman was rather persistent in blowing them to bits. "Okay, that's enough out of you. Swift release, Shadow Rush." Naruto dashed towards the leg on the ground and unleashed a full-body tackle at high speed, causing the egg frog to stumble and land back on the ground. "Go for it, Tails." "Okay." Tails curled up and started spinning rapidly before shooting forward to slam into the cockpit for some damage, then skidding backwards along with Naruto to build some distance between them and the mech to avoid any counterattacks. "I'm not through yet, take this." Eggman jumped to the ceiling once more and this time fired 2 missiles to create a larger blaze that Tails would not be able to carry Naruto out in time, as said fox grabbed onto him and flung him into the air. "Naruto, get out of there!" Tails cried out to him. As he gazed into the incoming, Naruto felt his body heating up and thought that he had been hit by the flames, but they weren't close to him just yet, and when they did, he didn't feel himself burning up at all. From Tails' point of view, he saw his friend being consumed by the flames and was dismayed. But then he noticed a cerulean flame amongst the red ones and was moving till it emerged to reveal Naruto shrouded in it, and was looking surprised himself. "Naruto, you're okay." "And what is that fire?" asked a happy and confused Tails. "I don't know, Tails, it appeared on me just like that and my chakra wasn't used for it," said Naruto. "Do you have any idea, Kurama?" "None at all, but what I do know is that you must have instinctively called upon it," said Kurama. "I see, but it's still active. I'll use it to my advantage." Naruto curled up into a ball and started spinning rapidly before shooting off towards the egg frog whilst leaving behind a trail of cerulean flames. Eggman saw the Naruto's sudden emission of power and hastily positioned his mech sideways to fire his missiles again, but Naruto closed the gap very quickly and lunged at him. "Kitsune Fire Wheel," he slammed into the mech, causing the azure to leave his body and envelop it before exploding, with Eggman having ejected the egg mobile in time. "It appears that you have some tricks hidden up your sleeves, but so do I. Pursue me if you dare." Eggman turned his craft around and flew off quickly. "Get back here, Eggman, no more running this time." Naruto made to pursue when he heard his name being called out. "Naruto!" He turned around to see Mina and the others running up to him and Tails before he called back at them, "Guys, come on this way. We need to go after Eggman." He took off with the rest following him close behind. They ran through the hallway all the way to the end, where they saw an extremely long bridge leading all the way to a colossal satellite ahead and saw Eggman flying ahead of them. "There he goes, let's dash." Knuckles was cut off when the whole place shook violently, causing them to stumble around as the lights changed to red and an alarm was blaring loudly. "What's going on?" "The space station is undergoing a total system failure and is about to crash down to the Earth," said Nicole. Naruto took out the scroll and unsealed Tails' device which he passed over to the young fox much to their confusion. You guys should get out of here while I go after Eggman. Everyone looked at him in shock and Knuckles spoke up, that's crazy, you can't expect us to just leave you behind like that. He's right, we should go with you, said Mina. I know, but right now we're pressed against time here, and with me being the fastest, I would be able to defeat Eggman and rescue Cream-chan's mother before the space station collapses completely, said Naruto. Cream looked at Naruto worriedly, but Naruto. Said Fox went down on one knee and placed a hand on top of her head with a warm smile. I made a promise that I'll rescue your mother, and I'll definitely fulfill it. Which is why I want you to hold on to this, it will help me save your mom. Naruto reached into his ninja pouch and took out a Hiraishin kunai which he handed out to the young rabbit. Keep a good grip on it, okay? Cream nodded obediently, I will. Then he picked up the chows sitting on his shoulders and passed them over to Cream and spoke to them. I'll need you two to stay with Cream-chan for a few minutes, don't look sad, I'll be sure to return. Ko and Yoru weren't happy but complied nonetheless. Knuckles let out a sigh, okay Naruto, but you better come back in one piece. I second that, it's fun hanging out with you, said Mina with a small smile. Naruto nodded in affirmation, sure thing, now get out of here quickly. We're running low on time. Tails nodded, then he started operating the device as it opened up a portal as they started with pieces of the space station falling around them. Do your best, Naruto. Naruto watched them leave before turning towards the long bridge. Oh, I intend to. With the open scroll he channeled chakra onto the next seal to bring out a much larger scroll. Then Naruto unfurled it to reveal a complicated seal matrix which he activated to summon a shadow clone which he had stationed back at Angel Island, sitting in a meditative state as both are engulfed in a puff of smoke before fading to reveal him with orange pigmentation around the eyes which show yellow toad-like irises. And he was wearing his short-sleeved red coat with a black flame pattern around the hem as he dashed out to the bridge. There he saw Eggman riding in another one of his Egghammer Tank Mark II. So you finally arrived and dressed for the occasion, Eggman sneered at the fox. Save the banter for someone who cares. Where is Cream-chan's mom? Naruto frowned at the doctor. Maybe if you defeat me, I might tell you. Let's see you destroy the improved versions. Eggman drove off at much higher speeds than the first time Naruto engaged him as the fox pursued him. Remember Naruto, you only have 5 minutes before the Sage mode wears off, said Kurama. I know Kurama, so I'll make each second count, Naruto responded. Naruto was running the vehicle and closing the gap in between them. Eggman activated the giant metal hand to lash out and grab the fox along with SWNGNG the hammer from overhead. Naruto saw the incoming attacks and leapt into the air to place his hand over the metal hand to vault, then followed up with a double kick to actually knock away the hammer, much to the doctor's shock, but he wasn't perturbed as he operated the weapons to attack once more with the metal hand, performing a haymaker punch at his intended target with the hammer following up. Not backing down, Naruto clenched his right hand into a fist before SWNGNG at a few meters away from the incoming fist, but there was a powerful impact that knocked it back to slam into the vehicle, then grabbing the hammer while anchoring himself to the ground before wrenching the weapon from its joint and throwing it away. He forms a Rasengan and charged forward with the metal hand moving in to intercept as he thrusts out with the technique Sage Art, Rasengan. As the spiraling sphere made contact, it began to grind through the metal fist into many pieces and continued slam into the cockpit for Eggman to eject the egg mobile before it was completely destroyed. Not bad, but there's more where that came from, said Eggman. Then the egg bomber tank passed by for him to dock in. Let's resume, shall we? I believe it's safe to say that he intends to use copies of the machines he used against us back in the other zones, thought Naruto. No matter, they'll all share the same fate like the others, said Kurama. Eggman aimed the cannon and started firing black cannonball at a much faster rate. Unlike the original, Naruto took out several regular kunai wrapped in explosive tags in one hand and channeled chakra into the glove to form a handful of shuriken, which he started to throw at the cannonballs to detonate them early before they fell anywhere close to him. While he threw the shuriken, Naruto was watched for the time interval of when the cannonballs are fired and found it as he quickly threw the kunai straight into the muzzle of the cannon, and a few seconds later, the cannon exploded to expose the interior. Eggman continued to launch cannonballs at Naruto despite the lack of a cannon like before. Naruto formed a spear construct through the ECG, then quickly wrapped several explosive tags on it whilst darting left and right to evade the incoming explosions before he dashed forward about halfway. Before leaping high into the air, he reared the loaded spear back, "Take this," then he hurled it towards the gap with the egg bomber tank going up in a large explosion, forcing Eggman to eject again. "Humph, obviously it needs more work, how about this one?" said Eggman as the egg totem rolled by for him to get on board. The egg totem proceeded to launch two of the totem-like discs which began to spin rapidly before flying towards him with the cannons protruding and firing red projectiles from different directions. Swift release, shadow dance. Naruto darted in and out rapidly and lightly around the projectiles while leaving behind a trail of afterimages before jumping towards one of the spinning discs with a fist reared back before smashing the cannon into pieces. He spun around to throw a wind-enhanced kunai to slice through the cannon on the other spinning disc. Naruto quickly jumped into the air to evade a third spinning disc coming at him from behind. Swift release, shadow flight. He dashed in midair with afterimages trailing behind him as he stretched his hands, and a blue spiraling sphere of chakra formed in each of them. Rasengan barrage. He rammed it into the egg totem as the vehicle buckled under the force of the attack and was destroyed. Next up was the arrow egg, as Eggman was operating aircraft, but this time there was a gun turret attached to the hanging plate behind it. The turret took aim at Naruto and unleashed a rapid fire of orange energy bullets while the main body proceeded to drop gray missiles towards the ground below. Naruto took out a kunai and enhanced it with chakra before rapidly deflecting the incoming shots whilst evading the debris from the explosions. Naruto took out a shuriken and threw it at the gun turret before performing set of hand signs while calling out "Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu." He watched as it multiplied into 1,000 copies of the original before cutting through the target multiple times, destroying it with only the missiles left to deal with. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto formed a group of clones, with the first grabbing the original and throwing him high into the air thanks to the senjutsu enhancement, with the others quickly following after him. Two clones appeared at either side and transformed into foldable windmill shurikens which he grabbed and twirled rapidly. Double demon wind bomb. Then he threw them towards the arrow egg. The shuriken reverted to the clones as they channeled chakra to the gloves and fired a grapple hook at the original, then pulled him in like a catapult. Naruto stuck his feet before him as he slammed into the arrow egg, driving it into the ground with critical damage. "That's 4 for me and none for you, Eggman," said Naruto. "Naruto, my scanners detect only half of the foreign energy in your body," said Nicole, well aware of the remaining mechs left in Eggman's repertoire but can't help but feel concern for the fox. "Not to worry, Nicole-chan. I'll finish things before the sage mode runs out," said Naruto. He turned his attention back to Eggman, who was on board the egg saucer. Naruto raced forwards with the target being the laser cannon. He darted to the side in order to evade the giant hand that tried to grab him, then quickly leapt into the air right before the cannon had taken aim and fired a beam at him. Naruto created a shadow clone to appear behind him while he curled up and started spinning rapidly. Then the clone twirled once with a roundhouse kick to launch Naruto at the cannon, successfully destroying it. Naruto turned around to see the metal hand throwing a punch at him, and he clenched his fist as well, charging it with natural energy before performing a straight punch. Both fists clashed with the metallic one shattering from the powerful impact. Seeing as there are no more weapons left on the egg saucer, Eggman was forced to abandon the vehicle in his egg mobile as he glared at the fox currently giving chase. Just where did he get such power? Could he be using a Chaos Emerald to strengthen himself? No matter, he's bound to wear himself out in the end. He pushed a button to summon his next vehicle, which was the egg go-round, when they reached the section where the railing is available. No sooner did Naruto see the vehicle that he put on a burst of speed to pass by it and pull far ahead of the doctor, then he performed a senjutsu enhanced jump to take to the air. He created a shadow clone and both worked together on forming a larger than usual Rasengan as they dived towards the rails. Sage art, giant Rasengan, spiraling sphere grind right through the rail and Eggman was helpless to do anything as the egg go-round derailed and crashed to the ground with him having to eject yet again. That was rather brief, said Nicole. True, but it was so obvious that I'm surprised that I didn't do it the first time, Naruto responded. He ran into a hallway where sure enough the egg frog showed up for Eggman to get inside. Here we go again. The egg frog leapt to the ceiling and began dropping bombs below to unleash the trailing fire, but this time the azure flames appeared once again and shrouded Naruto's body, which encouraged him to run through the flames without worry of burning. He leapt up to the ceiling and charged at the vehicle at high speed, swift release, shadow rush. Naruto closed in on the cockpit and unleashed a barrage of punches and kicks both in speed and power thanks courtesy of Senjutsu. Naruto lashed with an uppercut to drive the egg frog back to the ground, and then he formed a squad of shadow clones before diving towards it altogether while each prepare a Rasengan of their own, Rasengan Super Barrage. They then bombarded the machine into oblivion not after Eggman disporting in time. Naruto emerged from the wreckage with his sage coat gone and his eyes reverted to normal as he panted from a slight fatigue. All traces of foreign energy are depleted. Will you be okay, Naruto? Asked Nicole, not at confused with these sensations of her for now. I'll be just fine, once all this is over, said Naruto. Looks like you've hit your limit, said Eggman with a smirk. Not yet, I haven't, still got lots left in the tank, said Naruto defiantly. Then it's a good thing that I saved one of the best for last. Eggman flew off with Naruto running after him. The chase took the fox all the way to the edge of the space station where Naruto found himself standing in some sort of arena with large orange rectangular markings all over the place, and he also took note of the ceilings being full of spikes, making him feeling cautious around it. Now where did Eggman go? He couldn't have gone far, said Naruto as he looked around for the doctor. Suddenly he felt the floor quake, then he noticed a shadow fall over him and turned to see something rise from the edge of the arena. Something big that is causing him to look up. It was a giant robot bearing some resemblance to Dr. Eggman with a color scheme that is mostly gray and orange with black and yellow stripes, and it has a single red stripe on the back of its head. Whoa. Then Naruto heard Eggman's voice from inside the mech. Impressive, isn't it? Allow me to introduce, the Super Egrobo Z. One of my greatest creations yet and a symbol of your defeat. Naruto simply scoffed at his proclamation. You're assuming you've already won when we haven't even started the fight. Let's set the ball rolling already and get down to business. Something we can agree on. Naruto was about to take a step forward and the floor below him jolted for a moment before quickly rising towards the ceiling, but he jumped off before he ended up getting skewered and turned to see that it was a pillar platform with the top having large orange rectangular markings like the others, and so figured what to watch out for. Scanning complete, the torso and legs are built to withstand strong attacks. However, the head doesn't possess such defense, said Nicole. Thanks, Nicole-chan. Anything else I should watch for? Asked Naruto as he maintained his focus and watched his step to avoid being lifted towards the spiked ceiling by one of the elevating pillar platforms. Be alert of the arms, which are capable of detaching from the main body for a ranged attack, and the eyes are capable of firing laser beams as well. Noted. Now to figure how to attack. Naruto looked around for a bit before getting an idea. He saw one of the platforms jolt and jumped onto it as rose to the ceiling, then he performed the Kitsune spiral dash while spinning in place before launched off to ram into the mech's head and bounced back. Naruto was backing up when he saw one of the robot's arms shoot towards him, but quickly used the shadow step to evade before reappearing with a Rasengan in hand and struck to deal a lot of damage as it returned to the body. He leapt onto another platform and got ready to repeat the pattern. However, Naruto noticed the eyes glowing and immediately jumped off. Right at the mech fired a white energy beam from its optics. Whoa, that was close. Good thing Nicole-chan warned me about it earlier, said Naruto. It is no problem at all, said Nicole, feeling a bit timid. Naruto caught sight of another robot moving towards him and quickly moved behind an elevated platform for it to shield him from the incoming, forcing the arm to return to its main body. Shadow Clone Jutsu. A clone appeared next to him and rushed at the mech before turning around and linking his hands together and beckoned for him to step on. Naruto complied and was launched into the air towards the mech's head as he primed up a Rasengan and struck at the head for some damage. "Naruto, Eggman is about to fire an optic beam," Nicole called out in warning. Naruto immediately dissipated the technique and flipped backwards. During the descent, one of the robot arms shot towards him in midair. He quickly created a shadow clone who grabbed to spin him around to evade the charged and then retaliating with a Rasengan to destroy it this time. Naruto landed on top of a rising platform and performed the Kitsune spiral dash to launch at the mech's head again to attack before landing back on the ground. Just one more strong enough hit will do the trick. Naruto readied a Rasengan, but this time one would notice that white miniature blades of energy swirling around the blue spiraling sphere. He waited for Eggman to launch the remaining robot arm towards him. Once the doctor did just that, Naruto darted to the side and threw the Hiroshin kunai as it flew until reaching the point that it was right over the mech's head. There he warped over to it in a yellow flash as he called out, "Flying Raijin, level 2+ wind style, Rasengan." The combination attack inflicted sufficient damage as the giant mech began to explode. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 5. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.